What is up, everybody? What is up? We are here with episode 1 of Screenplayers, the Screenplayers podcast. I don't know if you've checked it on our other show, Talk Shit or Get Off the Pod, but this is a new project we've been working on. Screenplayers is essentially where we are just go deep diving into old movies, actors. It'll be a different show every week. We will be doing them on Sundays, going live at 7:30. And busted going live every day, every Sunday at 7:30. And so we decided to do the Lethal Weapon movie series. We kind of have broken it down month to month, so I could kind of tell you what we're going to be doing. But right now we decided to do Lethal Weapon, or I decided to do a series for our first 2 episodes. So today we will be talking about Lethal Weapon 1 and 2. And I'm here with my co-host of Talk Shit or Get Off the Pod, the rapper extraordinaire, Wild Man, the guy with the craziest stories you might have ever heard. Sometimes I'm in them. Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Andrew Schultz. What's up, man? How's it going?
How is it going, baby boy?
Good, man. So we're dealing with some lighting issues, but I think we got you in like a good position. And we're rocking some new backdrops right now, which is really, really cool. I'm really, really excited about that. Oh man, the chat looks super goofy right now. Well, no, it's all like smashed down. What is going on with this chat box? But it's been quite the adventure getting to this point. We've been talking about it for 2 months now, like not even no cap 3 months,
way more.
Yeah, so it's good to be doing it. So thanks for being on, man. I'm pumped.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, and thank you, audience, for tuning in. Let's do this.
Yeah, and so we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I think I just got rid of sorry, chat box. I'm gonna have to look at you on the side. It is all goofy right now. It's Kaboomy. Oh shit, man, Kaboomy, my boy on the other side of the pond, checking out the pod. It's like 4 a.m. or some shit over there.
In the UK?
Yeah. Well, if you haven't,
Shout out.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Lethal Weapon, you need to. But yeah, so we decided to break it down. 2 movies. There's 4 in the series. I picked this movie because the series is kind of absurd. It's got a lot of good cameos throughout. I know you hadn't seen it in a very long time. It had been a while since I'd seen some of them, especially like 2 and 3. Those are kind of like forgotten ones for me, but I've seen 1 a million times, and I've seen the 4th one. I saw that in the theaters, actually.
That's funny because I've heard a lot of people say 2 is like really where it's at.
2 was okay. Well, we'll get into it. We'll do it in sequential order. But man, like if they're a roller coaster ride. I'm gonna read some quick facts about it. I just got the Wikipedia pulled up. Just gonna run through some stuff on it. Give a little breakdown. If you haven't seen it, this movie was done in 1987. It's kind of like a buddy cop action film. So this has
35th anniversary.
Yeah, Danny Glover. It's got Mel Gibson in it, and basically it was a 1987 American buddy cop action film directed and co-produced by Richard Donner, written by Shane Black, and co-produced by Joel Silver. It stars Mel Gibson and Danny Glover alongside Gary Busey, Tom Atkins, Darlene Love, Mitchell Ryan, and Lethal Weapon. It's basically 2 mismatched LAPD detectives. Mel Gibson plays a former Green Beret who's essentially lost his mind and is like on some death wish, and Danny Glover is like an old veteran who's just kind of a grumpy dick.
I thought Danny Glover was the Green Beret.
No. What? How could you think
that? They both went to the war, like to Vietnam.
Yeah, but I mean, no, like, well, Danny Glover is like the crabby old vet. Are you telling me which one looks like they're more snapped? Who looks like a Green Beret who's snapped and has a suicidal death wish? I think definitely it's Mel Gibson's character in that. And it came out in March 6th. At a $15 million budget.
How much did they make?
It was $120 million. They made $120 million off $15 million. Was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Sound, which is the first one. That's amazingly mind-blowing to me. That says so much about where the world was at that moment in time. This heavy fucking saxophone, man. It's so absurd. And it spawned 3 more sequels, which we will talk about, and a television series as well.
I was gonna say, yeah, and a TV show.
Yeah, and so it starts out, you got Martin Riggs. Well, okay, so the movie starts, you don't really know what's going on. they kind of give you a synopsis of each one of these guys, like where they are at what point in their life. Like you see, Martin Riggs, a sergeant, his wife gets killed, so he's like super fucking crazy. Well, before we get into that, we could talk about a bitch falls off a balcony and dies. So that's essentially what happens. You're hanging out, all of a sudden this like white girl gets up, and then she's like falling off and like lands on this car. Everyone's like, oh shit goes down pretty quick, and that's when Danny Glover like steps in, and they're like, hey, this like white girl that like it's your friend's kid like fell off this roof. You got to come check this shit out.
They thought it was suicide, and this, like, I just have to say, like, it reminds me of The Dark Knight, or recently, like, The Tenet, where shit just pops out right in the beginning.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, this movie gets going quick.
Yeah, it's just like, this bitch is gonna jump. You're like, what the, like, you're just like, what the fuck's going on? And then it just picks up, and then next thing you know, okay, and all right, let's talk about Riggs, then we'll talk about the introduction of Danny Glover. We'll just talk about a little bit about his character.
Okay, all right. Riggs is Danny Glover.
Yeah. No. Riggs is Mel Gibson. Murtaugh is Danny Glover. So Murtaugh.
Oh,
yeah. So Murtaugh is like the old wily vet, and he goes to investigate this girl who fell off this roof. But okay, whenever there's this whole scene, and we'll talk about it again in episode 2, because it's fucking weird, man. It creeps me out. Like, I'm sorry, I think Murtaugh is a super super creepy character. I don't like his character. I don't like Danny Glover in this movie, and like I don't think that there's any boundaries established in this household. Like right from the beginning,
no.
It's like he's in the bathtub, like full grown naked man with a mustache, just chilling.
And
all of a sudden,
what happens?
His wife, all of his kids, his like 19, 20-year-old daughter, everybody just busts in there with the cake, and they're like basically splashing around in the water, and like it's weird. Like his daughter like sits up on the ledge like behind him. She's like perched up. I wish I had a video clip queued up.
Okay, hold on. I have to jump in here. How old is she supposed to be in the movie?
See, they don't really
17, 18?
Yeah, gotta be 18.
Okay,
I mean,
but how old is she in real life at the time?
Oh, at the time, I couldn't tell you how
27.
old she's 27 whenever they shot that. Wow. Yeah, because I mean, and like, you know, she's obviously crushing on Riggs, but we'll get into that. But
yeah, how old was he? How old is Mel Gibson?
Yeah, how old's Mel Gibson supposed to
30.
be? 30.
He's 30 in real life. He's supposed to be like 40.
Yeah,
he looks like 100.
It's true. Minus the mullet. His mullet game is strong. But so they all walk in. It's like they're both introduced in like naked scenes essentially, because he's like all naked in the tub. His family's splashing around with him, laughing. There's like no boundaries. It's super fucking weird. It's not some weird over like hyperbolic bubble bath. It's like you can like there's like breaks in the water. Like that's clear. That's some clear ass water. Like his dick's just hanging out, man, and everyone can see it. I instantly saw that and was like, what the fuck? I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about that scene. I was like, that is so creepy. And then everyone leaves but his daughter. And they're like, okay, bye. And they leave, and he's like still talking to her. Like, yeah. And she's like hugging him from behind. I'm like, oh, get out of here.
It's so true. It is fucking disturbing, and that's probably why you forgot about it.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? And then it picks up and it's like, oh man, this white girl fell off this building, and like I know her dad. What a coinky dink. Like small world. So now Murtaugh knows the father of the girl who fell off of the building.
Yeah, they're like they were in Vietnam together.
Yeah, they were buddies. And then then you get introduced to Riggs. Mel Gibson's character, I don't understand his living situation, how he got that set up, because
are you talking about the trailer?
Yeah, but it's because it's a trailer that's like he parked on the beach. Like, is that like his beach? Like, is that public property? Like, can you do that?
Well, in Malibu, they do have a mobile home like park like on the beach. Okay, and like Matthew McConaughey like had one there.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just like, it's just an interesting setup. But he's asleep in his trailer. He's got his dog. It's on the beach. It's a pretty sweet setup. You get that classic Mel Gibson ass shot. So everyone was just like, woo, You could see Mel Gibson's butt. It was actually underwhelming. Not that I pay attention to it, but I was like, oh, I totally forgot about that. So he's all like drinking beer and he power smokes cigarettes and is just like an overall insane person. Like overall insane. But so then they got to meet and they introduce. So it's two guys, an older veteran black guy, kind of grumpy. I'm too old for this shit. That's his catchphrase throughout all the movies. Just
As
a grumpy old man.
As we know.
Yeah, shaves his beard. He has a mustache. Everyone gives him shit. Like, you look younger with the beard. He's just a grumpy old man. He's just a grumpy fuck. His character is funny and creepy. And then Riggs is, just like basically a psychopath. He's doing the drug deal. Okay, so
he's swallowing like a 8 ball of cocaine off a switchblade.
Yeah. So in that, sorry, before the butt scene, when he actually get introduced, he's doing some drug deal, and it's like at this Christmas tree place that's like in the middle of like a busy street, like the worst plan ever, surrounded by Christmas trees. These guys got tons of coke all over the table.
Very 80s.
Yeah, very 80s. I mean, you can just tell. I watched this movie and I'm like, everybody that helped make this had to be like doing some sort of like coke or something. Like, there's no it was just too much heavy sax. So much heavy sax. I did not know that got nominated for an Oscar until I looked it up and was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but Eric Clapton is like one of the guys who's working on this music. Mm-hmm. And it got nominated for Best Sound, not
Best Sound. That's correct.
Yeah,
Best because of the explosions and shit.
Is it a surprise to anybody that Eric Clapton and Mel Gibson are friends? Like these two dudes have said some of the most racist shit I've ever read or heard in my entire life.
Yeah, they've been off the deep end. I mean, Mel Gibson's made a comeback. I think he's made a full recovery. He did a Ben Stiller movie. He played Ben Stiller's dad or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that. Not the movie. I just saw that was happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I mean, I feel you, Kabumi. Like, the music is good, but I also got to say, like, it's just, like, really heavy. Like, it's just, like, all the time. Anytime something happens. But it's Best Sound. Yeah, the music's absurd. And, yeah, I saw that Clapton was in it, and I was like, ugh. And then you could tell, like, as it progresses, like, how as their budget gets bigger, it just gets, like, some of it gets tackier.
No, Clapton does Lethal Weapon 2 as well.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But, okay, we'll get into Lethal Weapon 2 in a second. But, like, just, like, the explosion of budget, like, it's, like, ever so apparent, like, in the second one compared to the first one.
You know who's not going to like this is Kabumi, because Clapton from the UK, right?
It's true. It might be true. That might be true. Yeah, full of jazz. Yeah, I mean, but it's like improv. It's like sexy jazz. Everything they make everything like when they're sneaking around, it's all like sexy jazz. Like, it's not like mysterious saxophone, if that even exists. It's all just like the movie is hypersexual.
Ask Bill Clinton.
But he's buying a bunch of coke. And he's around this table, and these guys are like, "Yeah, give us 100." And Mel Gibson is like, pulls out and starts counting out some like 20s and 5s, and they're like, "No, 1,000, 100,000." And then Mel Gibson whips out his badge, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a cop. Fuck you."
No. You forgot the part where they offer him a free Christmas tree. All the cocaine.
Yeah. He's like, "I want to buy all of it." And they were like, "Hey," and he's like, "Yeah, but I want a tree." And they're like, "I'll give you the biggest tree in the lot." So the deal's done. He gives them, tries to give them $100 in cash. They freak out and say it's $100,000. I don't know what type of person's walking. Like, that literally looked like it's like only a seasonal gig for the trees. Like, it's definitely like half of a used car parking lot that they just like don't have enough cars, so they rent it out.
It was like Christmas. A pumpkin patch, like 2 months before.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of like, I guess it takes around the holiday season, so it is kind of like a Christmas movie.
No, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah,
later
I definitely would.
I'd say this has to be qualified as a Christmas movie.
Yeah, if Die Hard is in,
I got shit to say about Die Hard.
Shout out Bruce Willis, man. That's really
okay.
sad.
Well, while we're on the subject, Bruce Willis was up for this role,
mm-hmm.
and Mel Gibson was up for Die Hard. Yeah, imagine if that flipped and it says Bruce Willis in this movie and Mel Gibson in Die Hard.
Dude, Mel Gibson and
But like Mel Gibson might not have ever been at Mood Shadows saying like wild shit to the cops. Like
if he had the trajectory of a Bruce Willis, where like he just like was always doing stuff.
Mel Gibson, I would say.
Mel Gibson was rocking it.
Stronger. He's had a stronger career.
Yeah, I mean, peak Mel Gibson, like The Patriot was.
Or Braveheart.
Well, Braveheart, but I mean, Braveheart, that's when people were like, oh, this dude can write. This dude can do other stuff than just be a good actor. He can do all of these things. But I'm saying, like, peak Mel Gibson, like, peak power Mel Gibson, where you've got a young, up-and-coming Heath Ledger, and, like, no, man, I'm telling you, man. Like,
I know, but you know my connection. You know my connection.
Yeah, but I'm saying the peak
my
of
cousin.
But like saying, like, the peak of his star power, where he would, like, where he'd reach, like, the pinnacle was when he did The Patriot. I mean, he literally was running around, like, killing British people. Like, and he was like, it was like, you know, shout out to like Native Americans, because he was like, oh, like I was trained with them and I have like a tomahawk. It was like the most we'll get into that, because we will have a month that's nothing but Mel Gibson, but that's why we wanted to do.
We will
at some point. Yeah, he did too many other movies. That's where we could watch Braveheart. We could talk about Braveheart. Why not?
I know we can. You know what I like? I always forget is that he's from Australia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just always, because he is in The Patriot, you know, it's like,
yeah.
It's like this dude's an American asshole.
Yeah, he like
in Malibu,
fully sold out, man. He fully went full American, like Arnold.
He really did.
Yeah, he
really
did. Outside of Arnold, I don't know if anybody's gone full Patriot.
Not going to be the governor. Not going to be the governor of California.
God damn it, Mel Gibson. And I mean, and when you think
about
this,
that's what we do out here, though.
And when you think about this too, like, this movie is like has to be. I don't think it was at the same time, but I think that this came before Predator 2. I'd have to look that up. So I mean, like the only reason we got to see Danny Glover fight like a space alien is because of this movie, and I'm thankful for that.
Do you think it fucked up like his steez? Because Danny Glover is only like in his early 40s during this movie, like, but he's supposed to be like act like he's like retiring and like committing suicide, and like he's like 60 something. It's like what they're trying to portray, and it's like, do you think that fucked up his like
I think
steez, like for Predator 2, like where you're just like
no, because I mean,
this guy was too old for this shit.
No, but I mean, by Predator 2, I mean, it's let's be honest, he's not like in like the best of shape. Danny Glover's not like running around. Like, you know, it looks like a struggle. Like Predator, like that Predator sucked. Like, I'm not. That's just. It wasn't like it wasn't.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. It's not Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, what was it? Whenever they're sending us their predators, they're not sending us their best. So I mean, I think that like I would really say that that's definitely not the strongest Predator, but they had to like give him props. I actually if we ever get to do like the
Mel
Predator
Gibson
movie.
might be the strongest Predator.
But
speaking of strong predators, who's got a more crazy family, like, or toxic family, I should say? The Riggs, Danny Glover's family, who's hanging around with him, like at the
in the tub.
In the tub.
The tub hangouts.
While he's naked. And he's
grown
got his
man
like,
tub hangouts.
Children just like giving him a birthday cake.
Well, and not even like children, like grown adult kids.
Or the Cosbys.
Well, I mean, I think that I feel like they might be mirrors of each other. I don't know. I think that because we don't know, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta dance. You gotta dance with that one. But yeah, touche. I see. Point taken.
Predator 2.
Yeah, Predator 2. Predator 2. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. I just totally picked that up. That's terrible. So, I mean, a little bit of the plot, and we'll get more into it. So, you know, basically, Riggs' wife dies. He's former Special Forces soldier. He has become suicidal and erratic. So, like, and it's over the top. The way he does it is so over the top. Looking back, and I remember when I saw it the first time as a kid, and I was like, man, Riggs is a badass. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing ever. And I was watching it, I was like, he's like no one gives a shit. Everyone's like, whatever, there's the psychiatrist who's always like, hey, you should talk to me. Like, you're like totally unhinged, and the other cops are like, is he dead? Then I don't care. Like,
exactly. But that to me, that seems real. Like, that they would handle that kind of situation if you were suicidal, like in the 80s as the cops.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I
like,
definitely
they would, nobody would care.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I definitely feel like it's something that...
Like PTSD from Vietnam.
Yeah, I mean, they were just like, it was the worst display of like, oh, if Like, if they've been doing that for that long, like, yeah, I could easily see the LAPD doing some wild shit in the 90s. Like, there's a lot of repressed rage and mental issues in the LAPD in this universe of Lethal Weapon, because no one gives a shit. Everyone just dogs the psychiatrist constantly. All they do is give her shit the entire time.
So like Shane Black is the writer. And,
Yeah.
and he just got out of UCLA whenever this went down, like and he sold the script. But if you like actually like read the script, like or like what's like it was supposed to be really dark. Like this suicidal stuff was like real. It wasn't supposed to really be a joke. That we talked about it in the very beginning. The shorty who jumps off the goddamn balcony into a car and kills herself, like out in LA, like that is like, that's intense. But this is a comedy.
Yeah, it's like a buddy cop comedy. So they like, and the way I will give Mel Gibson some credit, and like he does some pretty good acting whenever, because he's super suicidal. So basically he does that, and okay, whenever like they show in that moment, you see he's a badass. Like he's like fighting this dude. There's a guy in the Christmas trees in the truck behind him. He murks that guy. He does this cool little belly roll, boom, boom, boom. He's got a Beretta. 14 in the clip, or 13 in the clip, 1 in the hole, like all sorts of shit. But then there's this one guy left who has a gun, and he's like, shoot me. He like takes him hostage, and he basically like has a mental breakdown and is like spazzing out, like shaking violently.
Shoot me.
And he's like like making these weird like guttural demon sounds the whole time. And everyone's like, walk it off, Riggs. Everyone's like, take a chill pill, Riggs, and like give him a cigarette. Like no one gives him.
No. He wasn't spazzing out. That was like that's the Three Stooges.
What do you mean? He was definitely spazzing out. Whenever.
But no, like when he's like, yeah, that's like a Three Stooges skit.
Oh, okay. Well,
from back in the day.
Yeah, well, whatever he's doing, that cop needs to definitely not be giving the doctor, Dr. Stephanie Woods, who's just trying to save this man's life. He just like burns her constantly. Mary Ellen Trainor is who played that. Actually, so she was in a bunch of she was a bunch of other stuff. She's a newscaster in Die Hard. Ooh, look at that. Another layer.
Yeah.
So she was in both movies. So she worked on both.
And both
who's cool?
Shot out here in LA.
Yeah. So they all give her shit. It comes like basically they go to investigate. They go to check out, find out this girl. It starts to look like it's a murder. She's got a bunch of drugs in her system. The cops are like, hey, if she didn't fall, she was going to die from the amount of drugs that were in her system. They were like tainted, or she just did a bunch of them. So she'd been doing a bunch of things she shouldn't, and that would have actually taken her out. But then she ended up falling off. They find all these videotapes. So this is another one of these like creepy Murtaugh moments, man. We're just going to call them Murtaugh moments because they are creepy.
I like that.
And like, yeah, it is. There's Murtaugh moments, and there's like Riggs episodes.
Rig replays.
Yeah, yeah, Rig replays. Good, Riggs is insane. So first of all, they get linked up, don't like each other. So right off the bat, they're walking to the car, and Danny Glover's like, "Hey," so he's like, everybody says you're batshit crazy and you want to kill yourself. That's basically what he says to him, and he's like, maybe. And he's smoking
not
cigs.
to laugh. Like I feel like we should do like a PSA, like in the beginning of this speak, like to for the suicide hotline or something.
Yeah, no, and I mean I'm not trying to make light of it. It's just
right.
like the way it's written and the way that it's delivered. It's so I feel like the movie makes light of mental health issues so much that it was like shocking. It makes light of a lot of situations where I'm just like, what? Like, and I never picked up on it. And that's why it's like, lethal, what the hell? Is because I watched this movie, especially the first one. And then it's like a dramatic swing. But the first one, I was just like, dude, what is going on in this movie? There was just parts where I was like, I don't understand why it's got to be like zooming in. So basically, they link up. They don't like each other. Riggs is like, oh, I smoke cigarettes in your car. Murtaugh's like, hey, don't. I got to work out. I got to do things. He's always afraid of being like old and getting older and being out of shape. That's like Murtaugh's thing. I'm an old man. I'm falling apart. That's like his whole backstory as a person almost. I got a family that hangs out with me in the tub, and my body's falling apart. Sorry, man. I can't get over that.
No, no, I can't
so weird. It's so weird to me.
It's very weird. Just how about just the waste of cocaine by Mel Gibson by just swallowing it all? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, definitely. So they meet up. There's Riggs is like, they say some people think he's faking so he can get retirement pension. And get full pension, so that he confronts them about that, being like, some people think you're pretending to be crazy, this is all fake. But when you see in his personal moments, definitely not. Riggs is definitely an unstable man and should not be patrolling the streets at all, and is very irrational and makes wild decisions. Tries to find out if he is. Murtaugh is contacted by his buddy, who says that his daughter was doing like prostitution, pornography type stuff, and that she was mixed up in it, and that's what she was doing whenever, like, leading up to, he was trying to get her out, she didn't want to get out, so lost troubled teen gets into bad stuff, like that, that run-of-the-mill type of thing that went on for a little while, where she's almost like Jenny from Forrest Gump or something. Like, whenever you see her, she's like that, like that scene. I just was like, that was happening, and I was just like singing Freebird in my head. Like,
the only thing is, though, Jenny doesn't actually jump.
True, she just like does a whole bunch.
She didn't have the balls.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, put in like a goddamn alert or something. I got something just random I'm gonna throw out at you.
Okay.
First movie with the cell phone.
This movie is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
That's pretty tight, actually. I could see that. I mean, because this is right on that period of time when things were really starting to explode.
That's right.
So, like, technology was, like, but it was, like, technology was getting bigger and bigger, and people were doing all sorts of different stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. Good stat there, sir.
Thank you.
Look at you.
I did my research.
So they showed that her autopsy, she was fatally poisoned with tainted stuff. So she was potentially, like, murked. Riggs and Murtaugh, they attempt to, like, question, like, her pimp dude. That doesn't go over very well. And because they find drugs, and that scene's really funny, because it's like all these scenes in these shootouts, it's like there's like a couple girls hanging out in bikinis, this dude's like and Murtaugh doesn't like to kill people, and I feel like Riggs is just like so quick to like just like take people's lives. So like he's like so quick. So there's this part.
He's quick in general, dude. Like, you see him run in this movie, and you're like, dude, this.
Yeah, there's like, some. Yeah,
he's booking it.
Yeah, Mel Gibson was definitely like some sort of physical specimen at that period of time, because he had some wheels on.
Legit in real life.
Yeah, like in 1 and 2, like you're like, man, Mel Gibson's like in pretty damn good shape. Like, he's that boy quick. Unless they have like a stunt runner, because like with some of them it's like he's there's a lot of long shots of him just being like, all right, Mel Gibson, and now like I'll book it. Like, I think he was almost showcasing his speed, trying to show off.
I totally agree, and it's because he's been running through the bush like back in Australia. Shout out New Zealand. But like running through the bush in Australia, maybe he just like really was like. He's kind of short, but like, I mean,
well, maybe, and after doing like the Mad Max film and stuff like that,
three Mad Maxes leading up to this,
and then like so I think he was like, hey, I'm not only fast in a car, I'm fast on foot, I'm light of foot. So maybe he's trying to prove a point. So they decide to go talk to the pimp guy. He sees them, and it's like instantly a shootout. But then they kind of like wrestle him, fight him, try not to kill him. Murtaugh's being a dick and is like, yeah, see, that's why you don't kill him. Look, and then this dude like whips out a gun, and Mel Gibson shoots him, and he falls in the pool and drowns, and like suffocates. And then they're like, get the girls, like, and then like he kills another one. I mean, that one made sense. Because Murtaugh's an idiot. If somebody's already shooting at you, I don't know, in that situation, he didn't have them secured, and he like pulled out another pistol out of his coat. Super tacky outfit, just looks like a sleazy dude, looks like a coke pimp, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe he is. Maybe he is.
So this next part is great. They kills the pimp, saves Murtaugh. So now Riggs is like, oh, yo, kind of like, I helped you out. My murderous ways helped you. And Murtaugh's like, oh man, I'm getting old. My old ways aren't working anymore. What am I gonna do? So they have one last lead, and this lead is this chick Dixie. Dixie is a prostitute who witnessed the death of this girl. Throughout their investigation, they realize that they know who this girl is, and they try to find her. So they track this girl Trixie down. So they pull up to Trixie's house, and I don't know, it looks like a house in like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That neighborhood just looks like so ridiculous. And there's these like all these little black
Grand
kids.
Theft. I gotta just jump in here. Grand Theft Auto 5 put in a whole like scenario level, whatever you want to call it, of Lethal Weapon.
Oh, they import all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
They'll do like, I mean, there's one that, okay, I love the movie Heat. Have you ever seen the movie Heat?
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah,
Who the fuck are you talking to?
Okay, that movie's so good. And there's, I think it's in Grand Theft Auto 4, there's a bank heist you do, which is like just like the movie Heat. And when I was like playing it, and I was like all stoned or whatever, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I feel like Mel Gibson right now. Or not Mel Gibson, Val Kilmer, which is cooler. I'd rather be Val Kilmer. Sorry.
Iceman?
Yeah, the Iceman. Batman Forever. That movie's so trippy.
Yeah,
we'll have a Val Kilmer month because Val Kilmer's done a lot of it. Yeah, we have to.
And I feel like he's making a comeback because he did get a little bit. Let's just say.
Well, he was like sick,
morbidly obese. But
yeah.
But I just saw him recently doing some weird shit. But like with my boy
in the flesh.
Yeah, and
awesome.
but he was like. It was like kind of like on point. I was like, "This is weird, but this is cool," and it's kind of like he. I feel like he's back.
I hope so. I always liked Val Kilmer, and I think Batman Forever is awesome, and it gets a bad rap. It's super tripped out. It's Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. That just doesn't.
Is that with Jimmy Carrey?
Yeah, Jim Carrey as the Riddler because he's a great Riddler.
Oh yeah,
but I saw the new Batman. The new Batman was pretty good. I liked the new Batman.
I've been watching The Dark Knight a lot. Like, and by a lot, I mean like twice. Like in the last like.
I was like, weeks. you know how I know you. Been watching The Dark Knight a lot. Like, okay, yeah.
Like by myself, like, like just like. I'll have it on the background. Like.
That's a mood. That's a mood right there, man. That's a mood.
I know.
That's great. So they go to Dixie's place. There's these little black kids hanging out front. They're hilarious, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are cops. You guys are gonna go bust Dixie," and they're like, "No, we're just gonna go like talk to her." And these kids are chanting, "You're gonna bust Dixie. You're gonna bust Dixie." Like this neighborhood is wild. Like the fact that these kids like know like what these kids are. I mean, how old do they say? Because there's that kid Alfred. How old do they say they are? They're like 7 or 8. These kids are little.
Yeah.
Like one of them's wearing like 3D glasses type.
We're talking like first grade, kindergarten type.
Yeah, like they're like their own little ragtag group of kids. Like you could do a spin-off of just those kids from Lethal Weapon.
And we'll just call it the Little Rascals.
Yeah, wow, Little Rascals. Little Rascals 2, Street Edition. But
it'll be Lil.
Yeah.
Lil. Lil. Rascals.
And like we're gonna jump around a little bit. We're gonna tell you some of the plot, then we're gonna like ramble a little bit about some things going around it. So bear with us. But so right now they're on their last lead. They go to bust Dixie. These kids are out there. They want to go question her, and her fucking house just explodes.
Yeah.
Dixie's in the house, and I mean, it explodes. These kids are sitting right there. They dive out. It's like real dramatic. You can tell they spent. Well, they had a $15 million budget. They spent $1 million at least on that explosion.
Yeah.
Well, the introduction scene where Mel Gibson fights is like a used car parking lot with Christmas trees.
But Reagan was president in '87, so maybe like inflation wasn't so bad. No, I'm just kidding. Terrible.
Yeah. It's like they blew up a whole house. So this house blows up. Then they go to question the kids. The kids are funny. They're like trying to ask them questions. And they're like, don't tell them your name. They're asking like, hey, one of these kids. So obviously these kids are divulging information. They're like, we saw someone over there. And then the cops come to ask them questions. They're like, oh, don't tell them shit. And street codes, code of silence. And then finally one of the kids says his name. The kid's like Alfred, I think. And they say that there was this blonde guy who was there. A blonde guy was doing stuff on the house. and looked like he was a gas or meter guy and was doing something. And meanwhile, Mel Gibson's in the street picking shit up, and he finds this little.
Who's the blonde guy? Who's the blonde guy?
Well, we'll get into that because we're gonna have to jump back to explain the bad guys a little bit. We're gonna have to explain them, because we're like we're laying the groundwork, and then right after this, we'll bounce back and we'll tell you kind of about the bad characters, and we'll get to who the blonde guy is. But they say, hey, there was this blonde guy, fuck him with the house. He looked like a douche, and Mel Gibson's in the street just picking up pieces of shrapnel, and he's like, look at this. Just like we used in Vietnam, this is like Mercs. Mercs use this, mercury switches. And I remember knowing that. I remember that, like when I was a kid, I'd be like, mercury switches. I think
so they like know that the CIA is involved. Or...
Yeah, or that somebody with CIA level, like they were like, the CIA uses Mercs, and this is like classic Merc setup. Like somebody who does some sort of dark government shit has something to do with this.
Shadow Company.
And her home explodes, and they arrive, and her corpse is later discovered. And Riggs finds the mercury switches and the debris, and he recalls using them with the CIA in Vietnam. The suspect is identified by the neighborhood children, and he also has the same elite special forces tattoo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he thinks that it's this guy, Hunsaker, or this Murtaugh suspects Hunsaker is withholding information. Now we're going to go back a little bit, and we're going to talk about these bad guys. So now the bad guy, the blonde guy, is going to be ever so great. Was once a great. Oh, do you want to go? You can say go for it.
No. I was shouting out. I was just saying.
Oh, okay.
I was letting you do it. It was just my boy. I love him.
Gary, good old Gary Busey.
Fuck yeah.
Plays like the basically right hand man. His name's Mr. Joshua, and a lot of people don't realize. So he played Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story in '78, and
Sure.
he was nominated for Best Actor, and won the Film Critics Award for Best Actor that year, and was like on a rocket ship to the moon, and then he got in a really bad motorcycle accident.
And it fucked his
and
day
it
up.
like messed him up, and he's still acting, but he was never the same. He became real erratic. But I mean, so like whenever Gary Busey's crazy, or you think he's crazy, yes, he suffers from like addiction and all these other things, and he's had all those run-ins with that. But he is a like traumatic TBI. Like people got to remember like Kanye West level TBI, and like where he like straight up almost that motorcycle accident without a helmet. Like a lot of the big campaigns for you to wear a helmet while riding a motorcycle, like Gary Busey helped. Like I wouldn't say he started that movement, but that was definitely like people would point to him as an example for a long time about wearing a helmet when you ride your motorcycle, because it was like shortly after, like it was '78 whenever he was nominated, and I think it was within like a year or two he had this really bad motorcycle accident.
But then he has bangers like Lethal Weapon and Point Break, like so he's still in the game doing it.
Yeah, no, I mean he never went away. He just like went from like being in stuff, like he's just the characters he was casted for changed dramatically whenever he came out of it. And then you have what is his name? General Peter McAllister, played by Mitchell Ryan. He's your main bad guy. It looks like when they're introduced, he's at some club, and there's some guy coming in to meet him, and they're arguing about money. It looks like shipment.
Okay, so like these are dudes who used to work for the CIA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And out in Vietnam, out in like Laos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Lao. Like I don't know if you can pronounce the S or not, but and they're like running heroin.
Yeah.
And they were like they took over the heroin like trade like during the Vietnam War, and then they like revamped this like CIA outfit like to like start actually like smuggling it into the United States.
Yeah. So they're basically drug runners. This guy Mitchell Ryan, or Peter McAllister as a douche. Then you have Tom Atkins, and he's playing Michael Hunsaker. But Mr. Joshua is pretty much like the main enforcer. And who's the actor who plays? I wish I could find him. The guy Endo. He has this little like Asian guy who like is like his torture master dude. You know what I'm talking about? Who has like the long hair with the car battery guy. He's in like he plays like the same character and everything. Like that one guy his name's Hector in like every movie. He always is like in the 80s he was like typecasted as a constant, like he was always
As this
like
little Asian guy.
well no because I think he's in Die Hard.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are in Die Hard that are in this movie. Like,
Yeah,
like,
no, yeah.
they're both Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Like we just said, Bruce
Yeah,
Willis and Mel Gibson almost-
he's in Die Hard. He's in Die Hard. So he's in
So
Die
people
Hard.
are just like doing coke together, like writing Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, and then there's like got mad at each other, and then just came out with different movies.
He's in Big Trouble Little China,
Oh,
Steel Justice. Oh yeah, Action Jackson, Die Hard, They Live, Bill and Ted's
Yeah.
Excellent Adventure. So he's been in a bunch of movies, but he's
prolific.
He's like another one of his guys. So, but like they introduced Gary Busey. He's like Mr. Joshua. That's just all he calls him. And this guy's talking about how he doesn't want to like get a shipment, and he's arguing with him. And then to prove a point, this guy, he questions him. The general's like, "Do you smoke?" Takes his lighter and makes Gary Busey burn the fuck out of his arm. And just hold it there. He holds the lighter, and Gary Busey burns his arm to like prove a point that they're not to be fucked with. But he just sits there and takes it, and the guy's like, "All right, yeah," and then he leaves the club. He dips, he vanishes. But these are they're also kind of like in the porn game. So like they're they're kind of in the porn game too.
For whatever it was back then.
Yeah, I mean, and like, there's a scene where, like, so they find these tapes, and Murtaugh, sorry, I skipped off the Murtaugh moment. Murtaugh decides that he is going to watch one of these tapes, and it's all these girls, like, in the shower with bubbles, and he is just, like, staring so intently and so creepily at this video the entire time. It's like so weird, and there's sexy saxophone.
Well, his daughter wasn't around in his bathtub, so what else is he supposed to do?
And there's that other time whenever his daughter's like leaving to go on some date with some guy, some blonde guy, some older blonde guy.
Oh, why's he got to be blonde?
Well,
He was.
yeah, he was, but I mean, and you know, but there's a mysterious blonde guy foreshadowing that has been taking Murtaugh's daughter on dates, and she's leaving, and he's like, "Ooh, that girl's a heartbreaker." Like creepily stares. It's just so weird, man. Like he's such a creep ball. He's such a creeper, and you never once in the movie see him really interact with his wife.
Well, she died.
No, not Riggs. Murtaugh. Danny Glover.
Shit. My bad.
No, you're good, but you know what I'm saying? Like, Danny Glover, he's just weird. And he gives his daughter the weird eye, and he's watching this video, and it gets super weird. But now they've kind of pieced it together. He thinks that this guy, that his buddy, whose daughter died, is, like, withholding information. Now Dixie's blown up. There's CIA switches from Vietnam. Riggs knows it. Murtaugh knows it, so they think that there's something missing from this story. So they go to the funeral. Riggs and Murtaugh decide, hey, we're going to go check out this funeral. We're going to talk to this guy. We're going to ask him some tough questions. So they go to his funeral, where he reveals that he works for Shadow Company, which is such a like cheesy, awesome name. Such an 80s like villain name, like the Foot, you know, Ninja Turtles. I loved like that's so good. The Foot, that's
I like
so
that
awesome.
comparison. I like that comparison.
Yeah, but like the Shadow Company. So he reveals that, you know, I've been because they confront him and they're like, hey, like we don't think that she died because of like shit that she was doing. We think that like she got killed because you're in some bullshit and you're not telling us. And then he's like, yeah, I'm running heroin. He's like, yep, running heroin, essentially. Tells them that they took over Shadow Company. It's a defunct CIA paramilitary unit which has secretly ran the Vietnam War out of Laos and took over a substantial heroin trade in the area from natives. Then after the war, the ex-CIA agents and mercenaries and soldiers involved reformed Shadow Company and began shipping large quantities of it from Asia to the U.S. And then he, you know, kind of blows the horn.
Fentanyl type shit.
Yeah, seriously. And then he blows the lid off on McAllister. He's like, hey, like, you know, it's these dudes. And Riggs is like, I know them. Like losing his fucking mind about how he just wants to lose his shit. He says his right-hand man is Mr. Joshua, and that Hunsaker was basically the banker who allowed them to make the illicit funds seem legitimate. So he was just like laundering the money for him.
Yeah.
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 And then that's Yeah, that's basically what it is. But then he initially wants to. He's like, hey, we need to have you. You got to testify against these guys. Like, we can. Come on, man. Doing that whole like we were in Vietnam together. We can fix this. And like, nah, you can't.
So, I mean, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does Melly Gibson's life after this change the way that you watch the movie?
What do you mean?
Like, does it bother you? Does it make you think about the movie different?
Like, what he's like now? Like, what we know about him now? In hindsight, do I view that movie differently?
Right.
I mean, yeah, a little bit, but I'd say in hindsight, like, everyone ate that movie up. Like,
I know.
Everybody ate it up like crazy. I was talking about it to someone, and they're like, that movie's great. I'm like, when's the last time you watched it? Like, and it is a great movie. I'm not trying to say it's not, but it's super weird. Like, that movie is so weird that it'd be hard to make. I know they say that you couldn't make movies like that. But it'd be really hard to make like along because it just makes fun of so many things that are like hot button issues or things that we don't make fun of or we take serious because we understand in hindsight that sort of stance didn't get anybody anywhere. Like,
but only $15 million, and that's like to me like that's like what like that's like a indie film right now, right?
Yeah, but I mean, and it's $15 million and. You can
in
like,
87.
Yeah, in 87. And you can just see, like, I'm just saying, like, the overall mood and attitude about that stuff is like, you know, it's a buddy cop movie, but they're like shitty to women, shitty about everything. Like, they talk shitty about their mental health, make fun of each other, you know, like creeping on your own kids, come on in them taking a bath. It's just like weird. Like, you know, like and maybe, you know, it's the difference in generations, but I'm definitely watch that. And the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, whatever, because I shouldn't have been watching it the first time I saw Lethal Weapon.
Oh yeah, your mom's like,
I was all about shooting.
Like, are you trying to watch titties?
No, well, I mean, maybe.
You're just trying to figure out what movie has titties.
No, man, that's Under Siege. Under Siege.
Okay.
that was the movie. So they want him to testify, retaliate, then all of a sudden, like, and this is another big chunk of their budget, has to be, this fucking helicopter comes out of nowhere with blonde Mr. Joshua just caps this dude through the window.
See, that's what I think blew up their budget.
You think the helicopter? Well, I think blowing up a house and using the helicopter, that was a lot. But yeah, he swoops in. And of course, Riggs is just like, I can shoot him down from a mile away with my handgun, and just starts like blasting away at him. And they
two clips.
Yeah, 2 clips. He's whenever he goes off, he's so crazy. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. And I mean, and there's, you know, other scenes. There's a previous scene where they're like at the gun range, and Murtaugh's like, oh, I got my revolver, and he runs around with the Beretta. So it's like this, you know, generational gap where they try to show that, like,
That's
their
right.
difference,
Like,
the change of the guard.
That Beretta, they don't even make it anymore.
They don't?
No. Do you know where Berettas are made? And this seems obvious once I heard it, but I had no idea. I thought it was an American-made weapon.
No, I don't. Where are they made?
Italy. It only seems obvious because it's like a vowel, like the letter A at the end.
Yeah.
Like after I heard that, but I was like, really? And
yeah.
I was like, yeah.
And there's, you know, like the scene at the gun range, and Murtaugh does a good shot, and then Riggs like shoots a smiley face from like way farther away. He's just like, he's a fucking psychopath. He's just a psychopath. So, you know, he gets capped through the window. He shoots him. He's dead. And takes off. And they're talking about it. They're like, damn, that dude just got shot. They're trying to basically figure out what to do. They know who did it. Ex-CIA guys. They got to figure out like an attack plan. And there's a drive-by shooting. Like Gary Busey's character is just like always showing him. He's like burning himself, or he's just like shooting people or saying crazy shit and is intimidating. So he drives by and shoots Riggs, but Riggs is of course wearing a bulletproof vest because he's a psychopath and just walking around. I mean, good thing, but I mean he's just walking.
He's like
around.
50. He's like the original 50 Cent.
True. I mean, well, and earlier whenever he goes up on the roof and he jumps off the roof with that guy. Yeah. He's like suicidal. He's like, you want to jump? Like everything.
You want to jump? You want to jump?
And that's way earlier, but that's whenever he like reveals where he's like, you're not lying. You're fucking psycho, man. He's like so pissed. He's just like, who is this? Like,
I mean, it's a good movie. Like, you're selling me on this movie right now. Like,
yeah,
I watched it a couple of times. And
hey, there's just some parts that are weird. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but there's some what the fuck moments.
Yeah.
So he gets killed. The dude gets shot. Then, you know, obviously Mel Gibson gets shot. He's got a bulletproof vest on. And Riggs is like, well, now Mr. Joshua thinks I'm dead, so now we got to take advantage of it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and the two of us are going to go fuck him up. That's basically now their game plan. They're going to go fuck this dude up. You killed... And like, dude, they've like
they think Danny Glover's dead.
Yeah, no, not Danny Glover.
No, I mean Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
they
think
I keep
Riggs
getting those two. It's the Riggs and Murtaugh.
All right, Danny G. So Danny G, they think that it's only Danny G. Right. And then, you know, they think that Riggs is dead. Riggs is not dead, but he shot him, and so he's going to be like, all right, I'm going to play dead. They're concerned that Murtaugh knows too much because now they think Riggs is dead, so they just got like one cop to deal with. Little do they know that if Riggs was dead, he'd just like walk away because Murtaugh's like too old for this shit. But they kidnap his daughter because Gary Busey, Mr. Joshua, is the guy who has been dating his like 17-year-old daughter. This CIA agent with tattoos, grown ass man. Gary Busey is dating this like 16, 17-year-old girl. So that's weird. So he kidnaps her.
Yeah. Dude, imagine, can I just say this as well? Imagine being like at the like cast party with Mel Gibson and Gary Busey in the same fucking room, dude. Like, what a nightmare.
Yeah, in the 80s. So I mean, Gary Busey was probably everybody was still like
Mel Gibson was actually doing coke, like
Gary
allegedly.
Busey,
allegedly.
Gary Busey was definitely too.
Yeah, I know. I just meant like whenever he swallows it in the beginning off the knife.
Yeah,
he demanded that was real coke.
Yeah,
that's where their $50 million went.
Yeah, has to be real. I'm a method actor.
Straight up.
Look at my mullet. And his mullet is fantastic. It's even better in the second one, but it's fantastic. So they get captured. They kidnap the daughter, and they're like, you got to meet us out in this like super deserted fucking lake area. And, you know, Riggs has got this bright idea. He's like, I'm just going to start sniping people from far away. So when he's driving out there in the fucking station wagon, he drops Mel Gibson off in like the foliage, and Mel Gibson runs off super fast like a crazy person with a helicopter shot. That's a crazy shot when he's just like sprinting off and just like running with his gun. He takes off, and Murtaugh goes to meet them. They all meet up, and it's like a Bronco, a limo, and like a helicopter. It's like the most and they're like in the straight line coming out of the desert.
Yeah, how the fuck did they get to the goddamn desert? Like they're just like in downtown LA. Like, come on. Like, that's like I'm out here, bro. Like that's not even Palm Springs. Like, that's like some deep desert shit, like 3-4 hour drive.
Yeah, man. So
but everybody's chilling.
Yeah, I mean, and they come out of like nowhere. It's just like emptiness. There's no like real buildings or anything, and they just come flying out of nowhere. And Danny Glover's standing there in his dad outfit with his goofy ass jacket. Might as well be holding a mug. And they show up. They basically they're gonna kill everyone because they're just like, if we kill everybody, we get away with it. We're the heroin kings of the world. You can go fuck yourself.
Shout out.
And then all of a sudden, Mel Gibson just starts capping people.
Yeah.
Just like dropping people. And the daughter freaks out and decides she's gonna like what does she steal? The limo. She takes off in the limo. A bunch of dudes get capped. Of course, Gary Busey doesn't get shot. None of those guys get shot. Obviously,
right.
You know they've been paid too much, and they're on way too much coke to go down from one bullet, anyways.
Oh yeah. This is like a very classic. You're not dying from the first attempt here.
Yeah. So sniper support. Murtaugh's able to kind of escape. But Riggs gets captured. The guy Endo, the Asian guy who was in Die Hard, kind of just pops up behind him. Isn't it him who does it?
Yeah.
And he's got an AUG. He's got like a super sick AUG, and he just like puts it by his head, pops him up. They walk him back towards everybody else. There's like a random ass like flare going off. When she takes off in the limo, they're like slamming on top of her with the helicopter. It's like, just drive to like civilization. I bet you they back off. Like, where are you going? Like, what type of escape plan did you fucking have? What did you think about this like high action packed scene?
I mean, just no escape plan. Weird in the desert. Like, of course, Gary Busey's gonna live until
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'll let you handle that part, but yeah, no, I just thought it was beyond ridiculous. But it's like almost like they were on coke, like when they're like, all right, we got to go to the desert.
Yeah, I feel like that's
what?
That's like the theme of the movie is like we were like a majority of the people who worked on this were like on coke.
Hashtag we're all on coke.
Hashtag we're all on coke. Like most 80s action movies.
Yeah, I mean, it was 87. What do you want?
So,
like 3 months after I was born.
But so they try to do their little escape plan. All three are captured, and they are taken to the nightclub of this basement. 4 hours back from the desert. So they left this nightclub where they could have done it, and they come all the way fucking back. They go out to the desert, then come back, and they lock them up. They've got them all separate, and this
lock him up.
This scene is super cool. I thought this was like one of the coolest scenes when I was a kid, with Mel Gibson, because they got him like strung up and he's under this drippy pole, and of course he's all like, oh, look at me, I'm in super shape. But he's this guy Endo is electrocuting him with a car battery with like sponges on it, and just like shocking him. And Mel Gibson's doing a great job of selling it like he's being electrocuted and making the weirdest sounds. He makes the weirdest sounds in these movies, but is just like moaning and wailing and crying as he's dangling. Then I'm trying to remember, they just beat the shit out of Murtaugh, if I remember correctly. They just was like beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Just pummeling him, beating the crap out of him constantly. And then what are they doing with the daughter? Where's the daughter at this portion of the movie? I'm trying to remember. I think they just got her like captured. I don't know if they're like, they're not like beating her up or anything. But,
nah.
I mean, but it's the over dramatic, drawn out, like, okay, we've got you. We easily could have just gotten rid of y'all, but now we gotta like keep you and torture you. But anybody who knows about it knows about Shadow Company is pretty much gone at this point. Besides those two, right?
Right, yeah. It's McAllister and what's the guy's other guy's name?
Mr. Joshua.
Yeah, Joshua. I forget it. He has the last name, like Husaker or something like that.
Well, yeah, but that guy, that's the guy, Hunsaker. That's the dude who got capped. That's whose daughter was killed. So that's,
right.
Yeah.
I thought they both had the same last name. Like, I don't know, but yeah, Joshua and McAllister. Like McAllister's the general running it.
Yeah. So they don't really. They
like the top two guys like left.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're and then Endo, the Asian guy.
Oh
and then Mel Gibson does this like crazy leg lock, choke out, escape, where he like kills this guy and escapes. So now Mel Gibson's on the loose. Murtaugh's captured, and shit seems to be going down pretty quickly. There's a little bit of a scuffle. Man, I wish I had like movie clips queued up for this, but I also don't know if I can like air them and like run them, if I can.
Probably
like,
can short enough.
Yeah, if they're short enough, and
it's free pub.
As long as I'm being transformative, I think you have to be transformative for free use. So as long as I'm doing something, and I think we're adding commentary to it. So I'll get some for 3 and 4. I'll get some clips queued up, and we'll use more of these slides that I've built that we haven't used yet. So he escapes, and they end up being able to. Murtaugh kills McAllister, so McAllister's dead, but Mr. Joshua escapes. They're not sure if he's dead or not, but Joshua's gone, and Mel Gibson's super pissed. They have like a battle, a little bit of a tussle because they ambush him, but Mr. Joshua escapes. He bolts, but everyone else is good. So now everyone's free. They feel like they've stopped Shadow Company, because everyone's pretty much dead. They've killed everyone. Like no one's left except for Joshua, and he's on the loose. Throughout this time, Riggs slowly starts to decide that like he doesn't want to kill himself. I know that like he goes and has dinner with the family earlier in the movie, and he's like super standoffish. He gets along with his wife really well. Like he doesn't share anything with his partner, but he like divulges all these like dark secrets about his life to his wife throughout the
There
entire
is
movie.
there is some weird flirting going on with him and the daughter.
Well, at dinner, the two other little kids, you know, the ones that hang out when Dad's in the tub, they're like singing songs and making fun of him. So, you know, they save her, so she's just like madly in love with Riggs. That's just like a theme throughout this whole thing, is that Murtaugh's daughters is in love with Riggs, and Murtaugh seems more jealous than he does seem like, hey, leave my kid alone. He's like, hey, what about me? Like, he's all,
What about me in the bathtub?
yeah, what about me? You were in the tub. You haven't even seen him in the tub.
Shit.
Yeah, it's super, so weird.
And they're like only 3 years apart, the daughter and Mel Gibson, whenever they're filming this.
Yeah,
However,
but I mean,
but they're supposed to be like 20 years apart.
yeah, like, because she's not in high school anymore, right?
I don't. That's the part I did not. Like,
Either I think she's 18.
That yeah. We'll give her 18 just to like cover everybody's ass. But like, she's actually 27. He's supposed to be like close to 40, but he's actually 30. So it's like it's so weird. It's like, why did you guys make it even more weird when like saying he was like 40 and she's like 18? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's super weird. There's like a lot of those awkward scenes where they're just like kind of all in each other. And just like, and it's like in front of everyone, and everyone thinks it's funny. The mom's like, ah.
Yeah.
So then
That's that white privilege.
yeah. So they're like, they stop Shadow Company. They don't know where Mr. Joshua is. Then they realize Joshua's probably gonna go to the house. He's going to the house. He's gonna try to get back at us. We've stopped him. We fucked over his whole heroin ring. So a coked out Gary Busey is heading to your house to hurt some people.
Hell yeah.
And then they get there, and you have an epic fight between Gary Busey and Mel Gibson, beating the shit out of each other in the rain. Everyone's just like watching. And Mel Gibson's like, he's mine. Like he like is like has to kill him.
Not everybody, right? Like cops.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's other people there. People are like watching this happen.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like cops, right?
Well, cops, other just people. I mean, it's like a cul-de-sac. I feel like it's a small street. There's like neighbors.
And they're like, he's like.
And is it raining? No, it's not that it's raining. Is it raining, or is it that they hit a fire hydrant? I can't remember. But it was just water.
No, it's raining. It's just like mass rain, mass cocaine.
Yeah.
Like, it's very fucking 80s action.
A shirtless Mel Gibson, and he does some like jujitsu moves.
Yeah, he's shirtless.
Jujitsu moves and all sorts of shit, and then chokes him out. And it's like, oh, he chokes him out. So you think that, you know, we caught.
Done. You think he's done?
Yeah, you think he's done. Mel Gibson wins, and then nope, of course, in classic 80s fashion, Gary Busey pops up and he's got a gun and he's gonna do the whole slow-mo shoot, and then Murtaugh has his like shot moment where he shoots him and kills him and drops him, and now everyone's gone, and there's no more Shadow Company, and Riggs has decided that then it kind of fast forwards a little bit. The house is kind of fucked up. The boat that he had that he's in love with is like all fucked up. Everything's all fucked up because like all this shit now. I'd hate to be their neighbor.
Yeah, I heard somebody say this to me. Like, they're like, what if like there was like a hype house, like which is like a bunch of TikTok people who live in the same house. Yeah, like next to them, and then like this is Lethal Weapon too. Never mind.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's so much crazy shit that goes on. Imagine just like watching, and then some dude gets shot. Like there's just like they have neighbors that just like watch this whole shit go on. I'd be mad at the cops too. No one just like they like let them like duke it out in the rain. Like just let them beat the shit out of each other
as if it was normal.
And that's like a theme in a lot of these 80s action movies. Is there's always like someone of like equal footing who's just as badass, but he's evil, and they have to like fight, and they know of each other. Or like, you know, one of my favorite 80s movies, probably my favorite 80s shooter is Commando. Commando is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And you know,
which came out like right before this.
Yeah, and there's, you know, John Matrix, who's Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, and then there's Bennett, the guy who wears the chainmail all the time, and he's like the other big bad guy, and they're like, oh, we're gonna fight, and they have a big one-on-one standoff. But Mel Gibson pretty much beats the shit out of Gary Busey. Like Gary Busey while he's good and he plays the role well, like he's not. You don't see him do a lot of physical activities, like like he's just kind of posted up. And then that kind of
purpose.
Yeah, definitely on purpose. You can see how it went downhill real fast. Because you're like, it's already like it's in the process of it. Like it's because I think at that point, what he's like, like almost 10 years or 10 years removed. So he's like in his other thing, but now he's getting these supporting roles and actor roles. And Gary Busey's kid is actually in Starship Troopers, and he is the kid who gets his hand thrown and stuck to the wall whenever they're doing the knife throwing, and he puts like, put your hand on that wall, and he puts his hand up. That's Gary Busey's kid.
That's crazy.
He's also in Dead Snow, which is a really stupid, awesome, like sea movie about zombies, like Nazi zombies. It's really good.
Well, would you call Starship Troopers a sea movie?
No, Starship Troopers is fantastic.
I feel like it was disrespected by a lot of people, and I kept on like having to like tell people, I'm like, this is a good ass movie, dude.
Well, Starship Troopers is interesting because it's like that world would be like that's like a dystopian future. Like it's super super weird.
I know, but like the football that they were playing.
The football, sick. Yeah, and it was.
Like, I'm telling
you,
it was
woke
bro,
too. I mean, Dizzy was quarterback.
I probably still get a boner every time I watch it. Like when I see the titties, like I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like, like it's just hot, dude. Like I don't know. That's just a cool ass movie.
Yeah,
and I know you shitted on Denise Richards on the other pod, but that's my shorty.
I like Denise Richards. What are you talking about?
I do too. But you said everybody besides Denise Richards.
And about what?
I don't remember now that I'm like bringing it up.
I don't know
I thought
if
you were like shitting
about
on everybody, and I was like beside or like you were shitting on only her.
That's no, I think I was probably shitting on everyone but her.
But
she's an undercover brother.
Yeah,
she's in Wild Things.
She did kind of act crazy.
She's
on the Real Housewives.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Drop Dead Gorgeous, and she's
like her husband is on another level of psychotic. Real Housewives, Google it.
Not to blow up anyone's spot, but I know someone who used to know someone really close to me used to nanny for them for Denise Richards, and it was during
Alan Westlake,
during all the crazy Charlie Sheen stuff.
Yeah.
And like leading up to that and before that, and she would tell. I mean, I won't share any of those they're crazy stories. She would tell me wild shit that would go on, not from Denise's part, but just Charlie being fucking psychotic.
Charlie being Charlie, but I'm talking about her husband now, who's like a neuroscientist or doctor or something, but he believes in crazy shit.
Really? Well, I mean, all those actors do.
Yeah, but he's not an actor. He's a neurosurgeon.
Yeah, but yeah, like. But
I've heard a lot of shit about neurosurgeons recently about how they're kind of like weird themselves.
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
So the script for the first one, a little bit of backstory on it. The first script was much darker. It was 140 pages long, and
which means like so every page is 1 minute, like when you're writing a script.
Yeah,
like typically.
Yeah. So it was 140 pages long, and both the plot and the characters were different, and the action scenes were much bigger. So it was gonna be, it looked like it was gonna be like a dark, action-packed movie.
Not a comedy.
Not a comedy. Way more like like way more of like a movie like Heat than like a Die Hard type film, because Die Hard was dark, but Die Hard was still kind of campy, and this still fell into that, but yeah. But you could see that like I said, for some of the issues that it faces, it made light of issues that they're just like that, like now look, if you go back and watch Lethal Weapon 1, they're just like, man, that's kind of in bad taste.
Yeah, so Shane Black was the guy who wrote it.
Yeah.
And he wanted it to be like a Western, like a urban Western is what I read. And he called it like a Dirty Harry, which is like old school like Western with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the guy who eventually takes over this franchise, but was also the director and then producer, Richard Donner. His nickname, real? Like Richard Donner? Dick Donner. I mean, that's kind of badass.
Yeah, I mean, and what did it say? Inspired by Dirty Harry, and yeah, the protagonist would be like everyday man policeman, and that's really like what Murtaugh is. He's like your everyday policeman. He looks like he likes his job. He likes to bust the bad guys, but he doesn't like. I don't think he takes anything serious. He obviously needs to talk to the therapist too, and he just refuses to.
We all do. We all do.
Oh, we all do. But I mean, they're like, she's like in the building and like begging them, and they're in there like fist fighting, and like, or they meet each other, and Riggs is like flipping him on the floor, giving him like a hip toss or some shit, shoulder toss, slamming him on the ground. And she's just like watching these wild fucking gorillas with guns just like acting all fucking crazy for like the cops. It's insane, like what she has to witness in this universe of the LAPD. Like they're just fucking crazy. It's madness.
We can tell you about that, man. In 1992.
Yeah.
You know, shit
and
popped off.
And then Riggs is like definitely like the outsider, like doesn't, fuck my uniform, I'm all grungy. I power smoke cigarettes whole time. Yeah, they said it was 140 pages long. Both the characters were different, and the ending of the script contained a scene that was like supposed to be some big chase scene with helicopters and a big truck with a that explodes, and the truck was full of cocaine over the Hollywood Hills.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
all
And
this,
it sprinkles all over LA.
Yeah, it sprinkles all over LA, so it looks like it's snowing. They're supposed to have this show,
And it's real cocaine.
yeah, but he hated it. Black hated it and then rewrote it. But apparently, yeah, there was the script had very
No. Black didn't hate it. Richard Donner, Dick Donner, rewrote it.
Oh, because I got to hear that Black hated the first draft and initially discarded it.
He was the one who wrote it.
Yeah, but later picked it up again and rewrote it into the new drafts that were eventually.
Oh, I thought it was like the studio that rewrote it.
But yeah, no. So they went and it got rejected by Warner Brothers. And then a guy named Mark Canton took to liking to it. And Canton brought in Joel Silver, who loved the story and worked
Joel
with
Silver's
Black.
a maniac.
Yeah, worked on lots of different things. And yeah, I mean, after the script was purchased for $250,000.
Dude, how clean is that? $250K
And
for the script, and they spent $15 million on the movie, and then just $120.
Yeah, and Leonard Nimoy was actually someone that they thought about having direct this. But he did not feel comfortable doing action films, and he was working on Three Men and a Baby at the time with Tom Selleck, so he actually turned down doing Lethal Weapon, which is pretty interesting.
Mel Gibson turned down James Bond 007, or he got turned down during this.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, this was such an interesting time for him because he was like blowing up. Everyone was obsessed with Mad Max. Everybody loved that, this like dystopian future stuff.
I liked it.
Yeah, and so it's like him trying to be in more of like a serious role. Like you could say that his acting at times is like way over the top, but no, like I mean, when, like I said, like when there's like the point where he's he always carries a hollow point. He's always talking about how he's gonna like shoot himself. There's that scene where he's like struggling with it.
He gives the hollow point to Glover, saying he doesn't need it anymore.
No, well, yeah, he gives it to is it his daughter or is his daughter? Daughter or wife? Yeah, he gives it to the daughter, and he's like, "Give this to your dad. Tell him I don't need it anymore. He'll know what it means or whatever." He's like, "Oh, I don't hate my life anymore," but he's still crazy, so it doesn't like change. Like he's still a psychopath. He's just like it's for everybody else. The rest of the city is not safe. He's safe when he's home and he's alone. He's safe now. Yeah, and they brought Mel Gibson on. Then they brought in Danny Glover. Really like overall good movie. I liked it. Really, really ridiculous. The guy who did the sound for Highlander composed the score, so Highlander is fucking awesome.
But really what it does is it sets up Lethal Weapon Episode 2.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe one of the best sequels of all time.
One of the hardest right turns I've ever seen in a movie. And so we'll get into that.
So should we do an intermission of 10 minutes before we get into Lethal Weapon 2?
Yeah, I think we could do a little intermission. I could
just like a pause, but come right back.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me get that queued up. So give us a couple minutes, and then we will get into Lethal Weapon 2. But before we do it was released on March 6th in 1987. It came out number one. It was number one for 3 weeks, which is great. And yeah, was nominated for Academy Award for Best Sound Mixing, and
But that's it.
yeah, and it lost to The Last Emperor, and it's widely considered one of the best buddy cop movies of all time. And you can definitely see that, Bad Boys, Rush Hour, Tango and Cash, all these other buddy cop movies. This really like spawned the genre. This was like, ooh, there's something here. Two cops,
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, but I mean that had already.
But that was before.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like the reboot.
Yeah, the reboot.
But the reboot doesn't exist without Lethal Weapon.
You could definitely say that this was the original or one of the original buddy cop films that really
that
created
went box office.
Yeah, that went box office and created a whole nother genre that you later see other people try to emulate. Or even like try to have a comedic take on it, like Kindergarten Cop or something goofy like that. It made everybody realize there's something about if you can do an action movie and not have to be some super badass. You can kind of make them like an average everyday person. Now, granted, Riggs is like a fucking badass, but but with Murtaugh, just trying to show, you can show backstories, you can give more depth to these heroes, I guess you could say. And then after that ended, and after those 3 weeks at #1, it blew up and became what it is today. So give us a couple seconds. We will be right back, and we will get into Lethal Weapon 2.
Thank you, y'all.
All right. Welcome back to the Screen Players podcast. This is going to be the Lethal Weapon 2 episode. Got my, oh, dang it. I guess, yeah, well, because we're streaming. And if we're going to split this up, see, I don't care. Like, I mean, and we're like live right now. I don't mind. I like that we do everything live. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I'll do another intro for because we're going to break this up on 2 audio podcasts because it's getting a little long. But we're going to be doing Lethal Weapon 2. So give me a second. 3. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Screen Players podcast. It is Joseph Huggins, Old Man Huggy, here hosting with my man, the legend, the myth, the dreamweaver, the wheelin' dealin', gator shoe wearing,
Cadillac driving,
sunglass styling. Woo! Woo! Mr. Goody Two Shoes, Andrew Schultz, my co-host, also from Talk Shit Off the Pod, or Get Off the Pod. And you'll notice we're going to kind of change things. You know, we've tried to promote some episodes and do other things with the pod, and we've definitely ran into some trouble because of the verbiage, even with the edits. So we're going to be changing some stuff. And it's they're like, no, there's nothing wrong with the show. It's right. It's the title. So you'll see it's TS, which is going to be, which I think works. So I think we can promote stuff. We haven't tried yet, but we got denied hard. It was instant rejection. And then you said they emailed you to set up a phone call.
Yeah, and I was like, listen, I'm not gonna to Facebook when I'm on the meeting with them. I'm like, I'm not changing the name. And the shorty, I'll call her that, said she's like, I think it's a great name. I was like, thank you. I know. I wouldn't change it either. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, well, I never was.
Well, and that's when I was like, well, hey, I have my company page from before that we can merge it, and then my page isn't labeled that. So long as you don't label the episode that, we're good. And Screen Players is fine. We shouldn't run into any issues with Screen Players.
And welcome to episode 2.
Yeah, welcome to episode 2, or if you're watching live, episode 1.
0.5.
Yeah, 0.5. A2. We just finished with Lethal Weapon 1. I thought we did a good job. We definitely missed a lot of stuff. It's really difficult to go through and do these. So we're definitely this is a new concept for us. So we're definitely playing with it, so bear with us. We'll get better with time. And like I said, for visual, for people that are streaming or watching a stream, we're gonna get some clips. I'm gonna start doing some clips and bookmarking some stuff, so that there's some visuals and we can maybe play some audio and shit like that. I know you won't be able to see it. We're still trying to figure out how I can be able to see him, because I have you big blown up to my right, so I'm always looking off to the right. I have you in front of me. I try to look at that, but then I just have this big menacing 34-inch view of you. It's
I'm literally just looking at myself right now. So.
Yeah, I know. So that's real meta. That's deep. That's deep, bro. And it's really, it won't let me run 2 USB cams at the same time. So I think I figured it out. I think I gotta buy something else to plug it into something else, and then I should be able to then you should be good, and we can be able to. Because I've got you on this video panel, and it's really nice. All
right, well, let's get into it.
Yeah, chill, bro. This isn't Talk Shit or Get Off the Pod. But either way, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all coming by, watching the stream, listening. Make sure you leave us a review, 5 stars. Say something. Say that you like his button-up shirt today. Whatever helps out. We've been picking up a little bit more steam, so we appreciate all the support that we have been getting. Now let's get into Lethal Weapon 2. We talked about Lethal Weapon 1. Super creepy. Makes fun of PTSD and mental health disorders. Their idea of porn is weird. It's way blown out of proportion and doesn't make sense. It was just taking baths and rubbing each other. We got Murtaugh, the creepy dad who bathes in front of his family. And nobody believes in doors or locks in that household. And then you got Riggs, who's a psycho, but now he's still a psycho, but he doesn't want to end his own life. He just wants to end everyone else's lives. What is your synopsis on 1? Give me a little brief review on your review.
On Lethal Weapon 1?
Yeah, just so set the stage, because it ends and then it starts, and then 2 picks up kind of I mean, I don't know, like 2 weeks later, I don't know, it's fucking madness in that city. LA's a fucking shithole.
Well, okay, so Lethal Weapon 1 like is just batshit crazy. Like in my opinion, I took me a couple times to watch it, like because I was just like, this is so fucking crazy. I can't believe we're doing this. By the way, I didn't even mention this. Did you pick Lethal Weapon because it's a black guy and a white guy, and you and I are a black guy and a white guy?
No, I just thought that if we were gonna, and this is like for people listening. So maybe I didn't set the stage well enough originally, but like, so this podcast, Screenplayers, like we're gonna be going through, and most of it's done month to month by category. So 1 month it could be, I don't know, it could be Reba McEntire. That'd be weird. It'd take a while to find enough movies to fill a month of Reba McEntire, but there's probably enough Lifetime movies. We could do it, or we could just watch the show Reba on CMT. But it's all done by actors and categories. So like, July, it's the US versus the world, where all we're doing is we're going to watch Red Dawn, we're going to watch Independence Day. But there might be times, where we're watching Alec Baldwin movies, cringe, and we'd be watching these, but like that's all we would watch. But it could be all he has to do is be in the movie to qualify. So, rather than starting off with something big, I chose this because it's got Mel Gibson in it, but that means when we do a Mel Gibson month, we can focus on other Mel Gibson movies, right? And then if we do Expendables, there's so many people, because there's so many people in some of these movies, that it'd be better to just, like, pick a series and watch them, because normally they're all together. Because now if we do Danny Glover, we can watch Switchback, which is a crazy good movie, and Predator 2, and all these other movies that he's in, and we don't have to include Lethal Weapon. But either way, we're bouncing from side to side. We're going to be picking different actors, some of them random. If you ever have suggestions, shoot us a message on Instagram, wherever, and let us know, because we're always looking for ideas. We can pretty much build out a schedule for a year with this plan too. So it's pretty crazy. We got some weird stuff, some stuff that we definitely... I picked some weird ones. You picked some weird ones. So we'll just kind of see. And my boy Bill Paxton's coming. Bill Paxton's on the way.
I mean, cause I was confused by it for sure. Like the Bill Paxton suggestion, but then you explained it to me, and I was like, okay.
He's in so many movies.
Yeah.
And
Apollo 13. That's all you had to say to me.
Apollo 13. He's in Twister. I think he's in Total Recall. He's in like everything. He plays like a good guys, bad guys. Okay, pup on stream. Hell yeah, dude, that's adorable.
All right, let's do it.
But yeah, so we're getting into Lethal Weapon 2. So this came out, it was 87 when Lethal Weapon 1 came out. This came out in 89. So 2 years later, they were riding that fucking wave. That movie blew up. It was number 1. Like I said, nominated for Best Sound for an Oscar, and lost. But definitely was, blew up and completely changed the action genre, in the sense that there was like a new vessel for them to like recycle the same bullshit. They're like, oh, buddy cop, what did we think of that? Hey, and they're like, it created a resurgence of that, because there was that, but that was way more in like TV format. Because after this, you have Tango and Cash, and that's got like Stallone. Everybody started doing some sort of buddy cop, us against the drug dealers type bullshit. So this came out in 89, and it is directed by Richard Donner, stars Mel Gibson, Danny Glover. This one's got Joe Pesci, so they pick up Joe Pesci. He plays a major role in this movie, and his character is absurd. Okay. And it's got Joss Ackland and Derek O'Connell, and then Patsy Kinsnet, and it's a sequel to the 87 film.
Shout out Joe Pesci. They fuck you in the drive-thru.
Joe Pesci's character is so great. It's like
it's untouchable.
It's so good, and it carries it like, and then the progression, like whenever we get into like, whenever we wrap it up and we get into the later, like there's so much continuity to his character. His character almost doesn't change. It's like the exact same the entire time. Like it's fantastic.
And like 5 movies.
Yeah, and like every movie is the same. And we'll get into that. But yeah, so basically the synopsis of this one is, they come back, Murtaugh and Riggs. In the first 10 minutes of this movie, man, you just see that their budget was like astra fucking nomical. They waste so much money in the beginning of this movie. It's like he's in his brand new wife's car. They're chasing these drug dealers in this BMW, or these two cars, and there's like helicopter chases and explosions, and Riggs running in the street again. Mel Gibson showing off that speed, like right off the bat, just like takes off, running through traffic. And
dude, who knew? Who knew?
It's so
Mel Gibson was like, I mean, I guess like Braveheart, but like it doesn't really seem like he's like too athletic in Braveheart necessarily. But I mean, like in this, like these two movies, like he is like shit. Like I don't know if I could beat him in a race, and I thought I was kind of fast.
He's definitely like in like peak. That's like peak physical shape. Like I mean, and I'm not saying that he's some like world beater, but I mean
feels like it.
I mean, I think he's like legitimately crazy.
Fastest man from Australia.
And it's 89. Like it's like the come down of like just like everybody like recreationally being coked out. So he's got some wheels, man. He's still riding that wave.
Yeah, he's not recreationally coked out anymore. He's just doing it like in a by himself.
So
allegedly.
So basically, and there was, we didn't talk about it in the first one, but there's all these, moments in these buddy cops where, like in Bad Boys or something, where they have their captain that they report to, who's always like ripping them, like, what are you guys doing? The mayor wants me to take your badge and gun, and you're suspended with pay. They always have some sort of bullshit, like captain that they report to. So they have this huge clusterfuck. I mean, it ends with these helicopters picking these guys up off the highway, and they like escape via helicopter. I mean, it's
the 101, dude.
Yeah, like the amount of destruction that Mel Gibson and Danny Glover cause in the first 15 minutes of this movie is absolutely insane. When I watched it, that's the first thing I did. I was like, man, well, I haven't seen the numbers, but they got a way bigger check. Their budget had to go up astronomical.
They're like, yo, you saw what we could do with $15 million, Lethal Weapon 1, and turn it into $120 million. So let's,
think about it.
Let's put $120 million in. I doubt it was that much.
But. Yeah, but that's crazy. I mean, if you spent $15 million and made 100.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so you kind of get a blank check on the next one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody's because they're just going to look for, and they're going to be using other investors, because there's other people who are going to be dying to invest in that movie. So there's people who will still be attached to it and get paid off of it, but they're not going to have to put up their own money anymore. They can go get someone else's, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it blew up. Like we said, it was number one for a while. This movie was nominated again for Best Sound Editing.
They better have been.
And it actually did $227 million.
Woo! How much did they spend?
Let me find that. But yeah, so they doubled up on that. They made a shit ton of money. That's crazy. And yeah, I mean so they did. Obviously they did a third, and then they did a fourth way later. But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
It's telling me what the.
It's not Marvel money, but like this is back in the day, and it's like. The budget's way lower.
$30 million. So they
like
doubled the budget, doubled the budget, doubled the money,
double the profit.
Yeah, that's crazy. Think about that, because they did 15 and they did 120, so they did 30. But I guess maybe we're looking at it wrong. $30 million is probably a lot of money.
It is not if you made 120 just like 2 years before.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
And then you're gonna make 220 back, like
and I mean what we said, like where Joshua shot the guy through the window, and then the house explosion when Dixie, the prostitute witness, gets blown up. Those are like the two biggest like cash dumps, I guess, in the first one. Well, the first
other than all of Mel Gibson and Gary Busey's cocaine.
Yeah, allegedly. True. Yeah, allegedly. But all of the and you see that budget in the first couple minutes, man. You see the budget on the first couple minutes of this movie, because they're just like, it's just explosions and shit's running around. So we'll get into the plot and we'll take you guys through it. This movie is pretty ridiculous. It's really good. I really like this. This is such a good sequel. Because it picks up and the characters, so there's no like mystery, and they just allow it to like happen organically. Like you don't know how long it's been, but you can tell that it's been a little while. Mel Gibson's doing a little bit better. Seems to be a little bit more lighthearted. But I feel like a lot of people, like there's a misunderstanding of diplomatic immunity, and we'll get into that.
You lost your diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, diplomatic immunity. Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. But so no, it's okay. So it's 2 years. It's 2 years after the events. So these guys in the beginning of the movie, they're chasing them, have this big shootout. They leave these cars behind because they leave on helicopters in the middle of LA. Like, man, Escape from LA is safer than this like version of LA that they have depicted. It's like, I mean, it seems way
Hot
more,
take.
It seems more organized. I mean, come on, man, it's like madness. But they find all these Krugerrands, which is like a South African money, and so this is 89. So I found it very interesting because it's super topical. It's almost like a really woke script. I don't want to use for lack of a better term.
You're right in the sense like because it's about apartheid in South Africa, and like they're fighting against that. And it was like, I heard this too because I did like some research on this. I heard someone say it was like Mel Gibson asked them to put apartheid into the script and then got the exact opposite of what he meant.
Yeah, because it's like it's super weird. So they find all these Krugerrands and they realize that they're like dealing with these evil South Africans. So now there's like a mob of evil South Africans that are living in the Hollywood Hills, like in some really nice house on stilts. And they're
on stilts.
On stilts. It's on stilts. It's like a
which comes into play later.
Yeah, bougie as fuck, and yeah, it's yeah. Oh yeah, the stilts do come in play later. But so that's their bad guy. Is they're bringing in these guys are like they're looking for these unidentified suspects, so they don't know who they are yet. And they're bringing in an illegal shipment of gold. So these guys are like shipping in all this illegal shit. And it's these South African fucks and they're like, they play it up. Like they're like super pro apartheid. There's like protests throughout the whole thing. Danny Glover has like a monologue moment in a bank. Like it's just like over the top with the, like it's like I said, I was like, who wrote this? Is this the same script? Like it's such a...
So the same guy did write it, but I heard this one was like way more rewritten than even the first one was.
Okay, that makes sense. I could see that.
Shane Black, shout out.
So there's the people these guys actually work for the South African government. So the villains in this movie, and we'll explain more, but just give you background on them. Like that's why I think people have, because of this movie, have misinterpreted like what diplomatic immunity is, because these guys are doing all sorts of wild shit, and they just, because they have diplomatic immunity, you can't do anything about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, oh, I just shot that guy, and what are you gonna do about it? Because I have diplomatic immunity. It's over the top. Like
I've like actually thought about this, like just in real life, like how much shit can you get away with diplomatic immunity? And I actually feel like you can get away with a lot of shit. Like,
there's this really good documentary. I can't remember the name of the guy who did it. He's this tall Swedish guy. He's a ginger. He did one on North Korea, where he snuck into North Korea, and then he did one where he went to the CDR, the the Democratic Republic of like Congo or something. He went somewhere and he purchased
Central Democratic.
Yeah, and he purchased diplomatic immunity, like paid for it and bought it and had like real credentials, and went and tried to purchase uncut blood diamonds, and take them out of the country with his diplomatic immunity. And like the documentary is all about his journey of going through the steps and the people he meets, and like what he has to go through to do it. And like I believe he does it in the end, like he gets out. But there's people he has meetings with who like go missing, wind up like dead like 3 days later, like while he's in the middle of Africa. Like, so like I interviewed that guy. Like you watch that interview, and then like 2 days later that guy's like gone for like ripping somebody off on some diamonds. It's crazy. So I mean, you can do some stuff with diplomatic immunity, but I don't think you can like be doing what these guys are doing. They're like shipping in illegal things of gold. They're blowing up the streets. They got rigs having like panic attacks, just wanting to like shoot people. Like the amount of, I mean, other people had to have died in the first 15 minutes of that movie. Like Riggs and Murtaugh don't, but there's a lot of people that died. Like innocent
Facts.
people.
Facts. I know, like it's just like civilians in the '80s and action movies. Like, there's like nobody cares. Like, you're gonna get killed.
So
like we're gonna move on.
Yeah. So before they know about who these South African dudes are, they get in a lot of trouble because they get away. They just get some like gold Krugerrands and shit, and they don't really know what's up, and their boss is pissed. So they are kind of like, it's, you know, that like, oh, you're gonna take this shit assignment and this is what you're gonna do, and it becomes like an adventure. So they're tagged with going and protecting a witness, a very important federal witness, who ends up being Joe Pesci, who is you know, got to go to court and testify in some big money scheme. Some, you know, they don't know if it's the mob. They don't give them a lot of details, but they got to go to this hotel. So they go to the hotel, get there, and it's Joe Pesci, and he's like ordering food, and he's just like live in a robe. He's just obnoxious as fuck. Like it's classic. It's peak Joe Pesci. Like that is like, he's so good. And what's it? Leo Getz. His name is Leo Getz because if you want it, Leo gets. If you want something, Leo gets it. And he orders food, and like right off the bat, so like within 5 minutes of being there, shit goes down. They're there. They're hanging out. He orders some food.
I gotta bump in here.
Okay, yeah. Bump in, please.
Shit doesn't go down when homeboy's on the toilet. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The bomb. With the
Yeah,
bomb.
well, that's
I don't want
later,
to
but
skip
that's
ahead.
later.
I don't want to
Yeah.
skip ahead. I don't,
Yeah.
but I just had to make the joke.
Yeah, okay.
Shit's not going down. Nobody's talking about it.
Right here, shit goes down because they get there and they're with Leo Getz, and they're dicks. They're such asshole cops, man. Like, I get it, he's obnoxious, but his food comes in and they're just like eating it. But these guys, they show the scene where it's like the classic like waiter. Like the waiter comes in and the waiter's been replaced. You see this assassin guy replace the waiter, and it's this like, I mean, you don't realize it, but it's one of these South African dudes. And he goes in, drops off the food, and then goes to kill Leo Getz. Doesn't. Next thing you know, freaking Riggs has tackled this guy out a window, fall out a window. Leo falls with him
Into the pool.
And it's like 6 or 7 stories. And that part's funny because
It's like a throwback from the first movie.
Yeah, but whenever they land in the pool and he's just like beating the shit out of Leo, Mel Gibson like doesn't know who he is, and he's just like pounding him in the face. He's like bah 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 bah, and he's like ow. And then Murtaugh like takes the elevator, and like in this one, Murtaugh's like definitely like, oh, I'm getting old, I need to retire. Oh, I'm getting old. I need to retire.
He's too old for this shit.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I'm just saying, like, he's like really thinking about the fact that he needs to like, it's like, but that's his whole thing is like, I'm just some old ass man. It's like, then quit, dude. Like, shut up, bitch. Like, either do the job. You gotta be in it.
This is a cranky old man, dude.
It's true, but I mean, you know, chill out, bro. So they get Leo Getz right off the bat. Somebody's trying to kill Leo. They don't get to catch the guy because they get stuck in the pool. They get tangled up. Murtaugh shows up, but now they know that like something's up with this Leo Getz dude. Like something's going down. And I think and then doesn't Riggs recognize one of them? He's like, that's the guy from the other night. So instantly, everything's connected. So because of the bullshit they got into the day before, it carries over. You got to carry the story over. Let me see here. Yeah, it's a legal shipment of gold. And whenever they're talking to Leo, they escape, and Leo's all hella fucked up. They're talking about Leo. They're questioning Leo about what he's into, because they're like, hey, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, what are you into? These guys from last night are trying to kill you. And they bring Leo to Murtaugh's house. Murtaugh's house is like the hub for all of this. Everybody just hangs out there. It's like the Family Matters house.
The hub or the tub.
Yeah, or the tub. Or the tub. That is very true. It could be the fucking tub. Disgusting. Fucking weird. So
what I'm here for, dude. I'm here for corny puns.
So, you know, they're questioning him, and they let him know that he's like, hey, like, I was laundering a bunch of money, like a shit ton of money for these guys. Like, these guys are smuggling drugs and all sorts of shit, and I launder their money. I work, you know, and that's what I was doing, big billions of dollars. What did he say? It was $500 million? It was some number, and everyone, which then is like an insane amount of money. That's like, you know, Dr. Evil. If you say $1 billion, people will be like, get out of here. Get out of here. But $500 million he's laundered for these South African guys. And they're questioning him. So he says, like, hey, I know where they are. Well, I know they're at this house, and it's up in the Hollywood Hills, and it's on these stilts. So, and they're like, well, you need to take us to this fucking house. So, of course, they're the worst cops ever. Let's take the witness we're supposed to protect back to the...
I mean, why? I don't understand why there's a house in the Hollywood Hills on stilts.
What do you mean?
Like, we have earthquakes out here.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, I don't want to no spoiler of our spoiler alert podcast.
Yeah.
But I mean,
what's a movie from?
Shit's not sturdy.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't do that. That'd be spooky. That would freak me out.
I mean, yeah, they do it like, you know, down in Corpus Christi in Texas, like, or something like that, like, where it's like, you know, like the high tide could come in. I mean, I guess maybe in Malibu. I don't even know if I want to say that. Like, but it's just, yeah, like in the Hollywood Hills.
It's a big ass house.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's a big house. So they decide that it's a great idea to take him up to this fucking house. So they throw Leo in the car and they drive up there. Leo's like, can I get a gun? They're like, no, he always wants a fucking gun. And, you know, Riggs seems a little bit more stable in this one, although you do get to see him. See, I thought this was cool as fuck when I was a kid. Whenever he's dislocates his shoulder, at one point they put him in a straitjacket because everyone just thinks he's crazy, and Riggs can do all these like parlor tricks, I guess. So they get him set up and they put him in a straitjacket, and he like dislocates his shoulder to get out of it and wins all this money. And then like he has to pop it back into place, and he's slamming it against this filing cabinet. And that's when, sure enough, the therapist is just like staring at him like, you need to come see me. And he's like, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. Da, 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 da. No, I'm good. But like, so Riggs is still like crazy. He's not normal. He's super unhinged. He shouldn't be a cop.
How much of that is Mel Gibson and how much of that is the written character?
Well, I think the character is written to be that ridiculous. But I think it's written to be kind of like a badass. I think Mel Gibson, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, yeah, Mel Gibson took some liberties and decided to like do his own thing. Wouldn't be surprised. Like ad-libbed.
Yeah. And it feels like they kind of already did do that, like because the first movie was supposed to be like really kind of dark and weird, and it was weird for sure.
Yeah, this one definitely.
but it was like a comedy, so it's like kind of like they're already taking liberties, but it's almost like, but it's weird because it's like they're not like really like, it's not like they're going off script or like improvising. It's like it's just more of like the chemistry between like Glover and Gibson and Pesci now.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, they definitely sold out on the buddy cop idea in this second one because they added a sidekick who's a comedic sidekick in Joe Pesci. So like that's pretty much his whole role throughout the rest of the series.
Oh, I'm a fucking clown?
Yeah.
You think I'm a fucking clown? Like,
do I make you laugh? Yeah. No.
Yeah. Dance, motherfucker.
But that's like his whole shtick is like to laugh at him. He's like the comedic relief because he's ridiculous.
Yeah, true.
He's like,
facts. He's in Home Alone, another Christmas movie.
Oh, so good. But I mean, are you a Home Alone 1 or 2? Which one do you prefer?
1, because Donald Trump's in 2. But no,
jeez.
No, I just feel like 1 is just. I mean, how are you gonna top that, dude? You know, like it's like.
But 2 is a really good.
You filthy
sequel.
Bastards.
2's still a really good sequel.
No, it is good, but like that's when he's in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would never shit on it. Now, Home Alone 3 may be the worst 3 Pete in the history
Yeah,
of
that
the
one's
world.
weird. With like, yeah, the kid's like creeping on people and like those little RC cars.
Get that shit out of my
And
face.
what's sad is that was on like Stars a bunch when I was a kid, and I've probably watched that. Like,
Dude,
at
they used to
least
play
3
that
times.
shit in school. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
believe it.
what are we doing? Ugh.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, pretty absurd. But so Joe Pesci's telling them all about it, and they take him to the house on stilts. They get there, and I mean, Mel Gibson's just so rowdy. He's just ready to beat the shit out of everyone. He's like, "Let's go!"
but you believe that he could. Like, I mean, like he is in like prime shape.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. And like his character,
like
is
it's not like unbelievable that he's whooping all this ass.
Yeah, that's true. So he decides, like, we got to go up there and check it out. They get up there to check it out, and of course he's like ducking into the bushes. He like dips off and like wraps his way around to the back, and he sees, these guys like counting money with Krugerrands and gold and all sorts of shit. And then 2 guys see him, and he just instantly starts a shootout. So now they go to this house on stilts. They're there for like 4 minutes. Mel Gibson's in the back of the back balcony, just like shooting shit randomly and arbitrarily, and just dropping people. And I mean, granted, these South African people, I mean, they're shooting it out. They're having like a full-blown shootout in this nice Hollywood Hill neighborhood with these wild-ass South African guys.
As you do.
Of course, Mexican standoff style. People get guns on guns, and people are sticking each other up. And then this, the leader of the South African diplomatic ambassador, or whatever the fuck he is, comes down, and he explains how like they're untouchable.
Like the consulate.
Yeah,
the consulate.
And at this point, there's like a bunch of other cops there too. It's not just Riggs. Like, so when they roll up there, like they roll up deep, and like Riggs goes rogue. Like there's multiple other cops there besides just Riggs. And when they make the raid on the house, then they get stopped, and they get told, "Hey, we have diplomatic immunity. You can't do shit to us. We can do whatever the fuck you want." What does he say? He's like, "You can't even write me a parking ticket." I feel like my voice is. I feel like my voice is spot on.
That sounded like Sonny from the Theranos, the Dropout on Hulu.
Oh, really?
That's what you sounded like right there. You sounded Indian, dude.
No, okay.
That's not like Pashmir or whatever.
Well, his South African accent is terrible. Because I don't think he's the same actor that plays Palpatine from Star Wars, but like I swear he's like the same guy. Where is he? Because I swear it has to be like the same guy. Because like the voice.
I feel like you're Sonny from Theranos about to get arrested right now.
A parking ticket.
Yeah, I don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
You're way better at accents than I am.
Yeah, that's true. I've spent a lot of time.
Like I try to like imitate us imitating Rasputin, like in real life, and then somebody's like, "Why does it sound like our boy Farboody, who's actually from Iran, but sounds like Mexican?" It's like, "Rookie, what are you doing right now?" That's how you talk to me, but that's how I did Rasputin.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's not what Rasputin would sound like.
No, not even close.
What a fucking epic character. Yeah, so, and that's, that character is Aaron Rudd. So there's Leo Getz, there's Joe Pesci, and then there's like, of course, the main bad guys. There is, Patricia Jude Kinsett is like the love interest. So basically they have this Mexican standoff. They get told they can't do shit. They show them their diplomatic papers, like in a wallet, and they're like, "Yep, they're legit." And so they let them walk. So there's been this huge shootout. I don't think anyone dies. I don't think anybody dies there at the shootout, but it was like about to go down. And these guys.
How many more times do you need to say Mexican standoff like before we get canceled?
I don't know what else you call it.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't even know if that
a showdown, a standoff, just a standoff takes care. I apologize if that was offensive.
I don't know if it is. Like I don't know. People are sensitive.
Yeah, but and the whole entire time, because there's like a couple black cops, like these South African guys are like really into like hating on these black guys. Like they play it up,
super racist.
They play it up so much.
Low point for our South African brethren and sisters.
Like I mean, like it was is interesting, like, because they were making all these side comments, saying things. I don't know what they were saying in South African, but I'm assuming they were saying horrible things. But they're just like harassing these black cops that are there, so everyone leaves disgruntled. They're walking out, and then they bump into the actress I was just talking about, and she's German, and she's working with them, and she is like their secretary, and she be like her and Riggs instantly hit it off. She's really pretty. I mean,
what else is new? Melly Gibson just gets it in.
Yeah. So, and it's like super awkward, and she's the secretary for the crazy
South Africans.
Yeah, crazy South African guys. So she's working for them. That continues. They have this exchange. There's like a briefcase, and he's this constantly like diplomatic immunity. Like, you can't touch any of my shit. So they all leave, and they're disgruntled, but they know that these guys are up to shady shit. See, and like that's where I'm like, you can't do that.
So is Nelson Mandela alive at this point?
I think,
like in real life?
Yeah. It's 89, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's like a big hot button issue. So,
it really was.
So they got a bunch of English people to play South Africans and like be uber racist in this movie. That's why I say it's like such a hard pivot. Like, cuz the first one, like the theme, while it was like basically like cocaine and like creepy sex, like this one like really tried to like take some like serious topical issue and implement it into the movie. You know, like
do we want to change the name of this podcast to Cocaine and Crazy Sex?
No, I mean, I think that once we get to the third one, I think we're past that.
No, oh yeah, we should have been already. We should have been already. 1989 was crazy.
Then it's like, then you're like, oh, like this, and then the fourth one, you're just like, oh man, this happened. But the fourth one isn't like terrible, but like yeah. You know.
It was a money grab.
Oh, for sure. Like the product placement on it's all everywhere. There's like okay. I mean, maybe I'll save that. I'll save that story because there's like, I think of that movie when I think of that car that's in the movie that they drive, because we had a coach who drove that same car when we were in middle school.
Okay.
You'll know it. No, I'll save it. You'll just know the coach. There's so many stories about it.
I probably won't.
Yeah. So basically they get told to fuck off because they have diplomat, like they're even told by everyone, like their bosses, everyone's like, leave these guys alone, they have diplomatic immunity, you can't fuck with them, leave them the fuck alone. But it becomes clear that, you know, there's money laundering, there's drugs, these guys are up to something, and like Riggs obviously can't leave it alone. Murtaugh's like tired and doesn't want to deal with it, but for some reason he can't like control his partner. So Riggs openly begins to harass the consulate and like starts kind of like hollering at the hot secretary. But they're like,
this is what I was saying about if there was like a TikTok like hype house, which is like a bunch of TikTokers like in a house together like trying to create content.
Yeah.
If they were like next door to this consulate, and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna go fuck with these guys like for like, you know, for like footage.
Yeah.
And it's like this is not gonna end well for you.
And like they like the whole outside the consulate, it's just like mass protests. I mean, these guys are crazy. Like the way they depict these South African villains, they're just like above the law. We're above the law. I have diplomatic immunity. So they're told to leave it alone, but they start to harass the.
That's some white privilege ass shit. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. Oh, peak white privilege.
This is like peak. Yes, exactly.
This is like
peak
the
white privilege.
Peak white privilege.
South African consulate with diplomatic immunity.
To like,
Jesus Christ.
Smuggling
in LA.
Yeah, just taking their helicopters and flying them through downtown LA and just like ditching cars on the highway. Incredible. So then he starts also romancing the secretary. And she's like totally opposite. I don't know how she has this job. She's like super liberal and like nice and like, I disagree with it. I don't know why they do these things. It's like, bitch, why do you work for them? What are you doing? Why do you have this job? Like, why do you work for these monstrous people? How much are they paying you? It's got to be really good. Like, she has to really be getting paid to do this job. But somehow she's completely oblivious to everything that they're doing. So like that shootout happens.
It's like Mark Zuckerberg, you know. He just gets paid a lot and he's oblivious.
Well, like that shootout.
Shots fired.
That shootout happens and she's like getting out of the car. She's like outside and like oblivious to the fact that there's like these guys beating the shit out of each other inside the house on stilts.
Yeah. Okay. Can we get to the house on stilts yet?
So they basically enlist Leo to create a scene to like try to get into the consulates. Like we got to get in there, we got to fuck some shit up. And
Leo.
Yeah, Leo gets.
Leo gets.
Which is interesting. How much more of a scene can you cause? There's like mass protests outside this building.
I mean,
but and this
$220 million scene.
And this is where it gets like really crazy. So at this point, like the cops are there, the cops are onto him, and the South Africans just like go out for blood. There's like this whole montage where they're just like murking all of these cops. Like they literally go through and kill like almost everybody. It's crazy.
Diplomatic minute.
Yeah, diplomat. Like that's what I'm saying. Like what?
Yeah,
like,
you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No,
I don't think you.
No,
can.
no. I think that's when you become a war criminal.
and they get like everybody like at their home. There's like a poker game. So there's a part where they don't go play poker, or Murtaugh doesn't go play poker, and like that everybody blows up at the poker game. There's like bombs in houses, all sorts of crazy stuff. Like everybody on the force, like one by one, they just take them out. Of course, they don't get Riggs. They try to get Riggs, and at this point, like, so Riggs and this chick have moved really quick. Like Riggs, like this new version of Riggs, like they go out. Next thing you know, they're like going at it. He takes her to the trailer by the sea, dude, and it just goes down.
The trailer by the sea. Saddest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but right? Isn't that what it is? It's just a bit...
I mean, it is. I'm just saying, like, when you put it that way, it's like, fuck.
But they're just like, they're like madly in love now, and then they get like ambushed, and they send like everyone to kill Riggs. That's what's rowdy. So everyone else, there was like a bomb or something planted. They sent like everyone. It's like what, they have a helicopter. There's a ton of dudes, and they just basically eviscerate his entire trailer.
Dude, like, I mean, the amount of like money, but also like danger that they use like for these stunts with the helicopters, both in 1 and 2, is insanity. It's like they're risking like legitimately their own lives. Like whoever the fuck is flying this goddamn helicopter. And I know someone who's like a Hollywood stunt helicopter pilot. He stole my girl. It's don't like you don't see shit like this anymore. I don't think like.
Yeah, I mean like the disregard for like everyone's safety.
Yeah, it's like what are we? You're like on the fucking 101 freeway out here in LA, like with your helicopter like touching cars, like it's like.
Yeah, and you see that like in the first one whenever they're chasing the daughter down,
Yeah.
and she's in the limo, and they're like landing on top of it and stuff.
It's real.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like and so. They send them out like this whole merc team to go kill him. Of course, he gets away. She gets away. The dog gets away. And yeah, like there's that scene where they're driving and the helicopter's chasing him, and he's like shooting down this helicopter from like 150 yards with his Beretta, with his lucky Beretta.
And Mel Gibson's like, "Yo, I need real bullets."
Yeah, he like stops. And that whoever was flying that helicopter, like the drop off for it, that's got to be intense. Like, yeah, they flew really low to the ground and do some really wild stunts.
I mean, if you're like a stunt helicopter pilot, like you're probably already like down to do weird, crazy shit. Like,
yeah,
you know, like you're just you're a daredevil, like basically. But some of this stuff is like I don't know if you could get it like away with it. Like the union would even like support it. They'd be like, I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
This is like Alec Baldwin with like a gun, like that hasn't been checked type shit. Like shut this down.
Yeah. And so there's a part where, so Riggs's wife dies in the first film. And then Riggs in this one actually finds out that one of these crazy South African dudes is responsible for like killing his girl. So now, because he like that's like the underlying theme is he's like sad about that's why he's unhinged, is he was in love with this girl and she died, and it was all like. But then you realize you think it's like an accident, or like he feels like it's he's heartbroken with it, but then he realized it was all like orchestrated to like get him out of the game. I mean, Riggs is like crazy. The fact that he's just an LAPD cop is like kind of weird. Like, right?
No, dude, no. This is what and come after me, LAPD. I don't give a fuck. Like Like, I'm sorry, it's not actually to get off the pot, but I'm
It's
just
fine. Say what you want to say. I don't care.
I'm just trying to say, no, this is the LAPD has been shacking a fool forever, and like maybe they're slightly better today than they were in 1989, but I mean we had the fucking LA riots in 1992, like 3 years later, like it's like it makes
true.
sense. It makes sense that he's a cop.
Yeah, I mean, the fact and the way they make, like I'm saying, is like the way they make fun of like, oh, getting help and over aggression and shooting their guns and killing people. Like it's like a joke, like the butt of a joke.
They make a joke like I forget if it was one or two, but it was one of them. One of the kids goes like when they shoot a black person, he's like, oh, like cops shoot black people, and they're like, and they like laugh it off.
Oh, it was the little kids or something. Yeah, it was
yeah.
the little 7-year-old kids that I said were streetwise. Little
Yeah,
Alfred,
yeah.
Or yeah,
The little rascals.
yeah, the little rascals with two Z's. You know what I'm saying? Get it right. They
Two Z's and like a semicolon.
Yeah, let's go get it. 3 teardrops. So they go through and kill like a lot of the investigating officers, and then they basically get to Riggs at Vanderhaas's apartment because they go there, and that's when they're like, hey, yeah, like I killed your wife earlier in a boss assassination attempt on you. We wanted to kill you, but I killed your wife, and he's like loses it. Riggs goes insane. Him and his gold fucking pen. And
his gold pen that would have exploded things if he took the James Bond role instead of this. But this, I mean, he cashed in. He cashed.
then just to add insult to injury, they kill the hot German girl, his new love interest. She gets drowned, but Riggs escapes. So now he's like, Riggs is losing his fucking mind. Riggs is losing his mind at this moment in time.
If he has it, if he already has it.
Like, right? I mean, so he goes absolutely batshit crazy. And meanwhile, while all this is going on, I can't believe we forgot about it. So Riggs is Murtaugh's daughter. So Murtaugh's daughter does this like commercial. It's towards the beginning of the movie. And, just keeping up with her because her and Riggs have some weird thing. And so she does this commercial. Like, it's the condom commercial, right?
Yeah. Ramsey Farrow.
Yeah.
Farrow Ramsey.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Everyone makes like a condom tree on and puts it on his desk, and everyone's just like dogging him, like ah. That's like, dude, you could not do that. Like, you could not do that. No. There's no way.
What are those condoms anyways? Like, was that actually a thing in the 80s, or is that like for the movie?
Maybe that was funny because like they don't use them in the 80s, and they were like all like,
well, maybe 89, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Like the AIDS like crisis.
Or like Hep C.
Like cocaine wasn't fun anymore, I don't think.
I liked and not to like make light of it, but I enjoy like I remember when there was a boom on the commercials for like Hep C, and it was always like, have you been? It was like a boom, like a total boomer commercial, because it was just like,
I feel like they all are.
Well, yeah, but especially that one, because it was like, have you been keeping a secret for like 30 years? And it was just like, dun,
well,
dun.
my favorite one, and I don't know what the drug is called, but it's a pharmaceutical commercial, and it's like, I am totally blind. That's how it starts. Oh. And it's like a drug for your eyes, but like, it seems redundant to me. Are you like, you're either blind or you're not? I thought. I'm totally blind.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I'm
totally blind.
I'm totally blind.
Well, I tell people when they're like, "Oh, my parents are like, oh, your parents divorced." I'm like, "They're super divorced." They're like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "They're like super divorced. Like, haven't seen them in the same room in like 20 plus years divorced."
That makes sense to me.
You're right. Yeah, no, everyone laughs. I don't get I don't understand why they laugh. But it's
I laughed, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But like, I get it.
Yeah. So they decide to kill Rika. Obviously, they don't kill Riggs. I mean, can we talk about?
We can talk about whatever you want, homie.
Because they try to kill Murtaugh too.
Oh, of course.
They try
to. Why would they not?
They try to kill Murtaugh, and
they tried to kill him like 20 years before this.
Well, no. That was Riggs. I'm talking about Danny Glover.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well.
No, I'm saying like before this movie was even thought about, they tried to kill Danny Glover. These South Africans.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. On screen when life imitates art, because that was definitely a thing. I'm sure there were some South Africans that hated Danny Glover, especially after that. I wonder how much hate. Like, I wonder what the pushback was. Like, if there was like a South African fan base, or if they hated this movie, or
I mean,
like how it was received. Because it's a big movie. The first one was big, so you know that people saw it. They're like, hey, apparently we're in this. Let's see what it's about.
Couple things here. South Africans listen to our other podcast, Talk Shit Off the Pod. So,
Hell yeah!
So hopefully we'll get some hate.
Well, I hope not. I feel like they've wisened up.
I encourage the hate.
And then Sticky Fingers lived in South Africa for a while.
That's true. That's a crazy story. We don't need to talk about it. But also, I was kind of hooking up with a South African before.
Oh,
like when we were in high school, remember?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's true.
And she was older, and I was younger.
But so they decide to get him at his house, and they're doing an addition to his house, and he murks that dude with the nail gun. Like,
okay, that's yeah. Like we talked about episode 1. I mean, not episode 1. Oh yeah, I guess episode 1.
Yeah.
But Lethal Weapon 1.
Yeah.
First movie with the cell phone. This nail gun shit. It's like, it's pretty inventive. Like, to be honest, because like a lot of people have done it since.
Yeah.
But I won't say it's the first time that it was on camera, but it's up there.
Yeah, I mean, and so they get him. They fail to. So basically, they kill everyone but Riggs or Murtaugh. Like the people that are out there doing their job and not trying to kill people actively, unlike Murtaugh and Riggs, they all lost their lives. That's like, it's so messed up. It's so messed up. They just like everyone, and they like show them like one by one. But yeah, so they escape, and like Riggs goes insane, so he decides to rescue Leo, and because Leo gets captured, and they destroy his house, completely destroy this dude's house. So he like,
was this the house on stilts?
Yeah, the house on stilts. Rips it off.
How do they do that?
They rip the stilts down.
They put like rope around the stilts.
Well,
and they drive off with a truck.
Well,
like, and takes the stilts out of this house in the Hollywood Hills. And so if your house is that fucking like unstable that you could take it out with a truck, you don't think a fucking earthquake, like the earthquake that's coming in '94, Northridge, is gonna take out your fucking house? Are you kidding?
Yeah, and in Grand Theft Auto 5, you said about in like one Grand Theft Auto 5, yeah, like that's a part, that's a thing, that's a mission where you got to go rip the stilts down off this dude's house. So like, I mean, and Mel Gibson's going like absolutely insane because now he knows that this dude killed his wife, and he's so mad. Like the whole entire time he's so unhinged because he knows he can't touch him because he'll get in trouble. Like the fact that they're like untouchable like makes him twice as insane. He's like absolutely losing his mind. So he completely destroys their house, rips it down to the ground. The house on stilts,
like a G.
Yeah, like a G.
I mean, this is it's cool except for the part where it's a little bit unbelievable that somebody would even have this kind of house.
Well,
like,
not even
like I don't know where they filmed that.
Yeah, like I don't know what those stilts are made out of. Like we're a truck, and it's not like some big rig. It's like a single cab.
Yeah, it's like a Ford Ranger.
Yeah, a Ford Ranger. Wow, amazing.
Shots fired.
Yeah, so basically, after declaring the intention to pursue Red and avenge his wife and Rika and their fallen friends, the other police, and basically all the cops are like, yeah, fuck this, we're gonna kill these motherfuckers. Everybody is so mad that...
You know what, can I ask you this? So they have diplomatic immunity to do wild shit, right?
I mean, I
South
guess
Africans?
In this universe, yes.
Yeah. And kind of in real life. So what if you killed one of them? Do you get diplomatic immunity like by default? Like,
well, I mean, but that's what do cops have? What's the immunity they have? What's it called? Trying to remember, but they have something. Oh, damn it! Why is that? Why am I blanking on that? But like they're get like
Yeah, I know you're talking about like we talked about it like a lot with the George Floyd stuff.
so it's like which one trumps which?
Yeah, or just
implied immunity. I think is that
yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Like, but I mean that sounds right, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get that wrong.
Yeah, I'm just
But just no, I just mean like that they're not citizens of the United States, so. Like,
yeah, but you can't.
Maybe you can't arrest them, but maybe you could kill them.
Yeah, you could definitely arrest them. There's no way.
That's the whole reason. What is
in this universe? But there's
what
no
is
way,
the immunity then?
But there's no way in like real life. I'm sure they get away with shit, but like you're blowing up. So, like I'm saying is like the extreme that these guys are at and how flagrant and blatant they are with what they're doing. There's no way they'd be able to operate. And someone would be like, you have to leave them alone. There'd be maybe it'd be like the State Department, like the FBI or Interpol or the CIA or something.
No, not Interpol. They don't get to come into this country.
Yeah, that's true. That's like the ultimate if you're being chased by Interpol. I feel like.
Yeah, that's like but you have to be in Europe for that shit.
Well, yeah, or I mean, yeah, but that just like that'd be like spooky.
Oh, yeah. I mean, would you rather get chased by the FBI or the Interpol?
I'd be if I had to like pick one. Which one do I think would be cooler? It'd be cooler.
No, not cooler.
It'd be cooler to be chased by Interpol.
But scarier.
Probably Interpol, man.
I don't think so.
Because I mean, well, yeah.
The FBI is pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty like they gotta.
Yeah, they're on their shit.
Yeah.
What would be scarier?
They do some gangsta shit.
Scotland Yard or the FBI?
Scotland Yard. Oh, FBI. The Scotland Yard. Get out of here. Come on.
CIA.
I don't want to blow up our UKs.
Yeah.
I mean, not blow up. I just meant like I don't want to like turn y'all off by saying the FBI over Scotland Yard. It just feels like the FBI might be a little bit more legit.
Yeah,
that's just me being an American.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I just always because I guess I've always been like ooh Interpol because then you'd be like running away. It sounds
tight because you're like an international gangster at that point.
Yeah, at that point you're like you're large scale and they have to work.
They have worldwide by word of mouth.
They have to work together to catch you or something like that.
Right. I don't know. I'm just biased.
So and basically they have this big ass freighter that they park. Oh wait, we need to talk about the toilet.
I've got notes.
Go with the notes.
My first fucking note is guys like you don't die on the toilet.
Dude.
Okay, Melly Gibson is right.
Mm-hmm. Well, no. Danny Glover. Danny Glover is on his house. It's at the house where everything takes place all the time.
Where he had the jacuzzi with his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking dumps, like poops, into the toilet, but the toilet has a bomb on it.
And if he gets up, it'll kill him.
Right. And people are coming in to the bathroom, and including Melly Gibson, but he never flushes and he's saying that he could flush it without like turning or setting the bomb off. But nobody even talks about there's just poop.
Yeah, and he sat there for forever. Like I think he realized it was there, and he'd been sitting there for so long waiting for someone to like find him. And then the best is there's like 30 people in the room, and they're like all concerned, like keeping the ladies out, like, hey, don't go in there, hey, quit looking. And people are trying to like peep in and like look and trying to see him taking a dump. And yeah, I never thought about that. The fact that he like never flushed, like he was definitely there long enough.
Yeah. So everybody's up in there with poop in the toilet and unflushed poop.
Yeah.
And nobody like cares about how it smells in there.
And then so they decide they're like, all right, we gotta like, I don't know why like they put liquid nitrogen on the bomb. I feel like the liquid nitrogen, wouldn't that just like completely disable it? Like, wouldn't you just be freezing it? I don't understand why. Like
No, dude.
Because they did it to like slow it down.
Liquid nitrogen. It feels like nitrogen is like a bomb. Itself.
Well, yeah, but liquid nitrogen is like is like really cold. Like it's like
when you like freeze like a wart or something like that.
Yeah, or like we use these margarita machines we have. Shout out Margarita Bob. This guy's awesome, dude. He's does our margaritas for our events.
What a shout out for him.
No, he's cool as fuck.
I'm saying,
he's
he better pay you.
He's cool as shit. No, we pay him. He does our margs for events, and he's like just cool and just this awesome old guy. He's cool as fuck.
And he uses dropping advertisements.
He uses these big liquid nitrogen tanks because it freezes the margaritas instantly whenever he pumps it in. So it's always frozen. It's pretty cool. But yeah, no, they dump.
That's just flammable.
Yeah, they dump liquid nitrogen on the bomb while he's on it, and then they're trying to figure out like, all right, you got to like jump in the tub, and Mel Gibson refuses to leave the room. So he's like, hey, look, I'm gonna grab you. We're gonna put on this bomb vest and this blanket, and we're gonna jump in the tub, and we have like a second to get in the tub before this toilet blows up. And yeah, so they jump in, and what's gross is they didn't flush. So that means that shit blew up everywhere. But it blows this toilet and lands on the car, the new car, because that's like the running joke.
Such a missed opportunity here, like to not have some jokes about it smelling like shit, or poop flying everywhere. I mean, come on.
Like, I don't know how you live that down. Like, then like Murtaugh's just down bad in Lethal Weapon 2. He's got the condom tree at his desk. His girl's out there like doing condom dick movie like features, and everyone's seeing it.
Just taking L's.
Yeah, seriously. Now everybody saw you taking a shit, and now your shit's all over everybody too. That doesn't help. Now and like it fucks his house up.
And it's frozen.
Yeah, frozen shit is everywhere. Fractal, there's shit fractals everywhere.
Fractals.
Yeah, because like if something's in liquid nitrogen, it shatters.
Oh,
mercury switches.
People are like stepping on it, getting like cuts.
Yeah, seriously. So, good lord. So there's just like poop shards everywhere. But at this point, it's like it's going
Literally.
down. Like all the cops are so mad. And actually, I think that happens before they kill all the other cops, because all the other cops that were there at the shit, yeah. So that happens before. So before we have the montage of all the cops like getting murked, they try to blow up Murtaugh's toilet, try to kill him first. It's obviously because he's black and they're super racist. And he like there's that scene at the bank where he's in there like saying all this like pro black shit, and everyone's like freaking out, and they're like, get him out of here. It's like everyone that's South African in this, except for the random German girl that's like the hot secretary they drown, is like uber racist. Racist.
Could you do this movie today?
Yeah, absolutely.
And besmirch the South Africans like this?
I think you just pick a different group of people. You would pick somebody else.
Like who?
You'd pick somebody else.
Say names.
You would pick another country that's doing some fucked up shit. So it's like, like whatever.
Russia.
You could do like Russians, just like in Die Hard with a Vengeance, or something.
Well,
like that.
That's the thing.
Or you could always do like North Korea. You got to pick somewhere. You could do something, or
China.
Or what they always do is you just make up some like fake terrorist guy who comes out of nowhere.
That's
like,
true.
Who was created
with an accent.
Yeah, who was created by the system. We made him, and now he's our enemy.
I know.
Even like the bad guy in the Italian Job, Edward Norton. He was like one of the crew, and then he backstabbed him. So he knows all of our moves, but he's not smarter than all of us. So and yeah, like I mean, so Riggs was on the come up, but now he's down bad. At this moment in Lethal Weapon 2, everybody's just down bad. Like everyone's taking L's. Like the cops have taken major L's, and they decide that they're gonna like throw down and raid this fucking dude's boat and fuck his shit up. They're basically like, we're killing everyone. Fuck your diplomatic immunity. Fuck your little passport. Like that's it. And they just showed him a passport once. Now like, oh man, they're legit. And they're like, yeah, boss, but like he shot Officer Johnson, and like he made Murtaugh freeze his poop, and like it like exploded. I got poop shrapnel in my eye. I'm going to the optometrist on Tuesday, Chief. Like we need, these guys need to be stopped. Nope. Don't do anything.
I'm going to the pimple doctor from E.
So, and that's what I'm saying is like, and like, obviously that's hyperbolic, and you should go fuck these guys up. But there's so many instances in this movie where they just do shitty stuff because they know nobody can do stuff back to them. Like, I think it's in 3.
I would kind of, not that I'm like murderous, but like, I would definitely push the limits if I had diplomatic immunity.
Like, I mean, think about it. They're taking their witness they need to protect, like, with them everywhere. He's, like, way involved. He's going to get killed. So if they're, so, and, like, that's what's interesting. So these guys have diplomatic immunity, but are they building up a court case against these guys? So couldn't you just, like, hang out with Joe Pesci?
Well, he, you know.
And then not
Can we talk about the drive-thru?
And no, what I'm saying, and then not have all the extra, like, now you don't have to, like, fight these guys because they're already making a case against him. That's why he's a protected witness to test.
They don't trust the courts, homie.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mind blowing. So they're just like mad vigilante cops. So now they go wild shit crazy, and they decide it's in their best interest to all of the cops basically set aside your badges and let's go kill some South Africans on a boat.
Straight up.
What do you got on your notes? Give me a note. What do you got on your notes? Because I mean, I want to.
I had two main ones, and it was the house on the stilts.
Yeah,
and the guy's like, "You don't die on the toilet."
Yeah,
that was.
And there's like a moment because that's where he tells Riggs he loves him. He's like, "I love you, Riggs," and he's like, "I know," and they're like all teary eyed, and it's like, bro, it smells like shit in there, dog. Like.
They don't ever say that.
And this is like 89, so like you just got some bullshit ass like homemade potpourri that was made on like bunko night or something. You don't got shit in the bathroom. It smells like dookie, no doubt. And then it blows up. See, and I think that they were the safest from the shit because they were in the tub, covered in a blanket, and I mean, they were in the hottest spot, right? It's a cast iron tub.
It sounds kind of hot.
It's a cast iron tub. This thing can take a lot of damage.
Get in the tub with me, and
let's
put a blanket over ourselves and have that doo-doo butter just.
Yeah, doo-doo butter. That's amazing. But yeah, so they all go buck shit crazy, and they decide to go to this ship. It's like, your classic bad guy. But, like, that's what I'm saying is everyone knows these guys are killing people and, like, trying to blow them up on shitters and killed, like, 9 cops and no one can do anything.
Let me get their back. Let me get our boy, was it Dick Donner? He's the one who is still directing this, right?
Yeah, Big Dickless.
Richard Donner, right?
Yeah.
He, like... such a perfect out or tool in a movie to use is diplomatic immunity. So now you just have a license to do the craziest shit you've ever seen on camera because diplomatic immunity. It was so played out in this movie that nobody else could ever do it.
Yeah, it's so played out. It's so played out. Like, and
it's kind of like if anybody, it was almost like he was fucking with the studio, and it was just he would come up with some crazy shit like exploding poop or killing cops, and they're like, I don't know, and he's like, diplomatic immunity, that's really what it feels like. And then it's like he used it as an excuse.
And Riggs and the guy who killed his wife and then killed his other love interest, they have their epic battle on the ship. A lot of South Africans die. They get a lot of work done. Murtaugh's really good with a revolver, but they also they make their way through the ship, and it's super cheesy villainy, and that's where two's different than one. While one was super weird and definitely had its uncomfortable moments, the way the story went, it didn't take cheesy outs. It tried to Mel Gibson's getting tortured and he's strung up with a car battery, some Vietnam type torturers type something, you know what I'm saying? They tried to push the envelope.
It was kind of just as much as a Vietnam movie as it was a buddy cop movie.
Well, it was definitely a PTSD movie.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And so to say that PTSD is not an underlying theme in this whole series is a lie.
100%.
Yeah, would be a lie. But then the fact that it's used as a vessel for comedy in a demonstrative way, it's very interesting. It's frowned upon. It's and it's so it's weird to have such a serious topic that we take so serious now. And obviously society's progressed, but that's how much.
Well, yeah, and it's not that they knew that it was that serious, and and poo-pooed it, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
Duke
it was
didn't
more,
win it. Dookie Fractals.
but it was just more like it was just that is literally how society was at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like they just did not acknowledge that this is, remember they used to call it, what did they used to call it? It was like shell shocked. Like,
yeah, shell shock.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, just
and then before that, it was called battle fatigue.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like,
I think George Carlin's got a really good joke about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like really good where he talks
Shout
about
out.
Well, he talks about it's about words. That's why I love George Carlin. Is he's all about verbiage and the use of words and communicating and like how you use language.
Like he's like, why do they call it a near miss?
Yeah.
When instead of a near hit, whenever you like are in an airplane.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But yeah, so they go on this boat. And they have their battle, and it's like full of shipping containers. This boat's fucking huge too. Like I don't know how. Like, and Riggs gets shot, but he ends up crushing this dude. Crushes him with the what's it called? Like with one of the big shipping containers. Like it's a pretty badass fight, and it's a really cool moment where he's presses the button and it like drops on him and crushes him because he's about to shoot him. Of course. They always think they win, and then the guy stands up, pulls a gun, is about to shoot him, and then Mel Gibson presses the button and crushes him.
Fun fact, do you know there was one guy who came up with the fact that there should be shipping containers all the exact same size and that would also fit on into an 18-wheeler so that it would go from like the boat to the 18-wheeler and all the 18-wheelers could be like uniform. One guy.
Yeah, I believe it.
Think about how rich that dude is.
Yeah, to have the patent on shipping containers.
Yeah,
that's genius.
That the entire world uses. Like that's that's some fu fucking money. Like,
I saw a house today. I was driving around in South Lake. Maybe that's who owns that house because I was like, who owns that house? It was like absurd.
There's no way this guy only has one house.
Oh yeah, maybe I'm saying maybe this is one of the several. But so they have their big battle and they crush him, and this is where it gets super fucking cheesy because the bad guy is he shoots Riggs, so he crushes the guy. That's when Riggs gets shot. The guy picks him off. This old fucking South African dude is apparently just like a crack shot. He's the fucking rifleman out there and tags him from forever and a year away, and then Murtaugh doing his cheesy little shoulder shrug, like basically. This old man is just yelling at him about his diplomatic immunity, and that's where it's like, okay, we get it, dude. He literally holds up the piece of paper.
They take it from them, don't they?
No, he holds up the piece of paper, his little badge ID, his little like recreational card, and he's like, diplomatic immunity, and that's when he shoots him. And he shoots him in the head, and that's when he kills him.
I thought they yelled, "You no longer have diplomatic immunity."
Yeah, well, I think that they didn't actually revoke it. He was just like saying.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but yeah, like, and it was like, oh my god, and Murtaugh just tags him in the head. Done. From forever and a year away with like a 38 special. Like, just these guys are all just the best shots. I mean, I guess you have to be in this version of LA because it's fucking crazy.
He's a Green Beret, bro.
So then. No, Murtaugh.
I know.
Murtaugh's not a Green Beret.
I know. I got it confused in the beginning of the first episode.
The black man is not. The crazy white man with the mullet is.
Who's not even American.
And is this one? And they have like the car chase where Riggs is on the front of the car at the hood of the car. I believe that's this one. Yeah. Where he's on the front of like the stair car. That made when I see him driving around and they're driving around on that little like rig in that chase scene, I instantly think of Arrested Development and like the car, the car that's got the stairs. You know, it doesn't have stairs on it. Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
I did, but I don't remember that.
Oh, they have like this car that they used to like drive around.
I know the money's in the banana stand.
Yeah, that's true. We need to. That's such a good title for everything. There's always money in the banana stand.
He's like, how much more clear do I need to say this? There's always money in the no touching.
I love, I love Patrice O'Neal. Patrice O'Neal's hilarious. And he plays the arsonist, and he's like, "Did you burn down the banana stand?" And he's like, "Oh, you." He's like,
"R.I.P. R.I.P."
Yeah, seriously. And like died way before he should have blown up. He would have been huge right now.
Yeah, I heard Kevin Hart say something recently where he was letting Patrice O'Neal stay at his pad out in L.A. Even though Patrice O'Neal was like kind of like mentoring him.
Yeah.
But he would come out there like so he was staying at his pad, and he got like a new Mac like display, and this is like, you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago or whatever, and Patrice kept on asking Kevin if he was like leaving, and Kevin left the house, his own house.
Yeah, I think I've heard.
And then
this story.
and then he came back because he forgot something, and Patrice was jerking off. And he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "What do you fucking think I'm doing? Get out of here." Or some shit like that. I was like, God damn.
So crazy. Whenever he's like, "Did you also burn down the storage unit?" And he goes, "Almost definitely." His delivery was like absolutely great. But yeah, so then they end up. He goes and checks on Riggs. Riggs is like on the verge of death, but then Riggs is like playing dead, and they all laugh and they're all buddy. And then it pans out, and there's like a bunch of more fucking people dead. Some South Africans dead. You know, people with diplomatic immunity all got murdered. But like I said, the ending of it, whenever he sits there and chants diplomatic immunity, is so cheesy and so cornball. It pisses me off. It makes me laugh. I totally forgot about that when I was rewatching it. I was like, oh my God, I totally fucking forgot about this shit.
So there is actually an alternate ending.
See, I didn't watch the alternate ending.
I haven't watched it either, but I just read about it.
Yeah.
And where Danny Glover dies, I think.
It's
either Danny Glover or Mel Gibson. I think it's Danny Glover, 100%. Where he dies, and they didn't go with that, but it's on YouTube, I think.
Okay, interesting. But maybe we'll watch that.
But I mean,
live next time.
You get 2 more fucking movies out of it and a TV show, like
yeah, and the TV show is like so much later. But that's what I'm saying is like then like anything they do now is recycled. Like the first 2, especially that second one.
They're working on a 5th.
Yeah, well, I'm sure because now Mel Gibson's like not taboo anymore.
Is he?
Not as bad. He did Expendables. He's done enough villain roles. I mean, I feel like because a lot of people were like, he did Passion of the Christ, and then
I was gonna say he's got the Passion of the Christ
because once he was like all crazy. So basically, his peak acting was when he did like The Patriot, and then after that, it like all fell apart. With it, like right after that, it all stopped. Like, because then he did.
I just think it's really funny that you keep saying The Patriot is his peak moment.
Well, I'm saying like on the
instead
timeline,
of Braveheart.
No, but I'm saying that because at that moment, that he could do no wrong. Because after Braveheart and stuff, he'd been like sexiest man in the world.
This movie is what made him like feel like he could do no wrong. He could do anything he wanted after this movie. That's how he got Braveheart and The Patriot. It's Lethal Weapon 2.
Yeah, but what I'm just talking about is like before he got outed as being like this crazy person, like we knew he was, but like actually being a crazy person. Before that happened, like that was like right after the movie The Patriot came out. So I'm saying is we were all still under that guise and that bravado that is Mel Gibson, where it was like, oh, he can do no wrong, like he can, and then that comes out and people are like, that movie's like, you know, great, it's Americana, like, you know.
Yeah, I saw it in the theaters.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
and like I told you, my cousin, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you could say like aim small, miss small, and people are like, "Ooh, The Patriot!" Like it's a really good movie, and that helped catapult Heath Ledger. But I'm just saying that on the timeline, I say that's the peak because that's before everybody knew he was crazy, and then after that, he stopped acting and he was more doing movies. He was directing and writing and was more behind the scenes, and did A Passion of the Christ. I think a lot of people forgave him.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean,
that's why he says
a lot of people didn't even have to forgive him who liked Passion of the Christ because they didn't care.
Yeah, they were like, "What?" I don't disagree with what he said.
I love moon shadows in Malibu.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Did you see The Patriot? I mean, that's America right there, man. He bleeds America, and you're like, he's from Australia.
Oh man, I drive by moon shadows like at least once a week. Just because of my life, like on the Pacific Coast Highway. Yeah, and I think about it every time, and I'm just like, I feel like I feel weird. I'm like, I look around, I'm like, cops around here, like, like I don't want to, like, it just. But no, it was just him wilding out.
Yeah, no. But yeah, man. I mean that's Lethal Weapon 2. Um, you know,
Screen players.
screenplayers episode, I guess, on the stream it's just like one big mashed up one. We'll probably split it up for the pod. Like I said, we've got more things in the works. We're going to be doing Lethal Weapon 3 and 4 on the next podcast, and then we're going to get rolling in on our calendar. It's going to really be by actors, and we're going to post it so you guys will have some notes so you can kind of,
Or actresses.
or actresses, and you guys will be able to kind of keep up. So if you ever want to watch those movies on the weeks that we watch them, we will have those posted. Appreciate Kabumi. Kabumi's been like deep in this, just like chilling with us, and so we appreciate you hanging out, man. And I was telling him we got to get him to watch a movie. So if anybody's ever interested in like guesting on, like all you got to do is really watch like 3 or 4 movies for the week, take some notes, and then we'll do the rest, have you on, and kind of go from there. But we really appreciate y'all stopping by, checking it out. Like, subscribe, share, follow, help us out. Leave some words. If you hate it, leave us 5 stars and tell us that you hate us. Just leave us 5 stars. It helps. It helps with the algorithms.
I'll take one.
Yeah.
Because at least you rated me.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Reviews help y'all, so we really appreciate it. And we'll be back tomorrow night with Talk Shit or Get Off the Pod. Episode 32 is going to be up, and we are on the schedule, so it's posted. I think it's 8:30 on Monday for Talk Shit or Get Off the Pod, and then 7:30 on Sundays for Screenplayers. So,
and is that Central Time? Or
yeah, Central Time. So that'll be 5:30 on Sundays for Screenplayers, and then I think
8:30 East Coast.
Yeah, 8:30 East Coast, and we'll post them all. But I mean, you're in Cali. I'm in the old Tejas.
No, I know, but I'm not worried about me. Just the audience.
Yeah. So and make sure you can watch on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. We've got it streaming all live on all platforms. So we appreciate y'all stopping by. Thanks again. And yeah, we'll just see you next time, y'all. Stay easy.
Hey. Oh man, Huggy, I appreciate your time.
We appreciate yours too, Mr. Goody Two Shoes.
And guess what? We're not too old for this shit.
Yeah, seriously, Jesus. And yeah, y'all just have a good night and go fuck yourselves. That's kind of like my thing. I like saying that.
I like that you say that.
Yeah. Later, y'all. Be good.